and he fucking throws that mannequin off. He's like, take it sleazy, and I'm out. And then he runs away and he throws the fucking mannequin off the fucking building. And he's like, did she cry?
Words.
And Durs is blind as hell. Like, Durs had his eyes all fucked up so he couldn't see.
Oh yeah,
and he actually thought that Adam like committed suicide, and he's like feeling the mannequin. He's like, no, and she's like, it's a dummy, you idiot. Alice says that.
Fucking Alice, what a fox.
He said, take it sleazy, and I'm out. and then fake commit suicide, dude. Oh, that is gold. Take it sleazy,
Little wild.
and I'm out.
That's a great show. Fuck.
Workaholics.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have watched a little bit of it.
Dude, the one where he hits the dude as they're pulling into work, and they're like all talking about how much money they would suck a dick for. And Adam
I did that shit for a rock and some French fries, dude. What do you mean?
And Adam goes, oh yeah, $1,000, and Durs like smokes somebody in the parking lot, and then like after he hits her, he looks at Adam and he goes, did you say $1,000? And he's like, no, I said 100,000.
Did you say 1,000?
He's like, no, I said 100,000.
Actually, what would your guys'
great.
numbers be?
What?
Oh,
Suck a dick.
Suck a dick?
goodness.
And I'll give you
not
two.
much. Not much at all. I'm telling you, you might not even need to pay me with actual money, dude. I'm talking like a crack rock and some French fries, bro. I'll get that shit done.
If I'm being honest,
I suck that dick way better than a
if
girl.
I'm being honest, it's gotta be six figures.
He was way too
Something that's gonna
Six figures, dude.
something
that's a lot.
something that's gotta set
You don't
me
suck
up.
dick worth six figures though. You gotta like be
Bullshit,
good
dude.
enough
I've had my
to
dick
spend
sucked
$6.
enough. I can suck a dick for six figures. I know what I like.
I'll
Most
tell
people
you
like
what,
the
dude.
same.
You think you say six figures now until someone walks up to you with like
Yeah, and then
$10,000.
and then I go, nah, not worth it. Not worth it.
Keep in mind, 100. Think about what like $100,000 car is. Like you get like for 50 grand, you can go have like
And
a top third car and then like on the road.
Like you get a
I ain't buying no
you get a
cars with
Nissan
100K. I'm getting
GTR for
myself a
sucking that
crib.
dick,
Yeah,
dude. I'm
yeah.
telling
I'm
you
getting
what,
myself a crib for 100K.
You can get
that
two
GTR, that GTR is way more expensive than my dignity. Hand me a beer, let's get this bitch started.
Fair.
Hand me a beer, let's get this shit started. We are rolling, so we're fucking.
What an intro.
What a way to start off, dude. This is going to be a hell of an episode.
Episode 21.
Hey,
Just a bunch of private schools.
Leave it in the
I
comments.
love how I asked you for a beer and you just completely ignored me, dude.
Did you ask for? I couldn't even hear you.
Yeah, I did ask for a beer, but.
Hey, but guys, leave it in the comments. What's your number for sucking a dick?
Seriously, please. I tried to get people to fucking respond on the last podcast and shit, and like people just came up and said the usual, like, "Yeah, dude, it was dope." And I was like, "Well, give me some constructive criticism."
Leave your number in the comments. We want to know what you would suck a dick for.
Hell yeah,
Dollar amount.
Noah's out here pulling views. I swear to God, I did not expect Noah to have the fucking top viewed video out of all.
That's because most people are like, "This dude's an idiot. I might tune in and watch it." Like, and then people started sharing it. It all worked out for me.
Yeah,
and then my Facebook got hacked by aliens.
Fucking did. It got hacked like 4 or 5 times.
Hey, shout out to
in, like, 3
Neiman
days.
Plumbing for giving out all that money. That's very nice of them.
Big,
My company
big
is giving
call.
out.
Dude, I was there for 3 days, and they were just like, "Yo, dude, give all this money away."
Yeah,
Dude,
Noah's Facebook had one of those things for anybody that has no idea what the fuck we're talking about. It had like one of those things that was like, comment what number is written in this picture.
And it was so blatantly obvious.
My
too.
company is giving like 1,000 to 25,000.
Yeah, and he said
for the first 50 people that
he said
answered.
it's real.
Wow, dude.
He said
You got
it's
real and legit.
You got joked.
He said it's real and legit.
I remember. One
How can
time-
it be real and legit? It can't be real without being legit.
Well,
and it can't be
you
legit
legitimately got
without
scammed,
being
dude.
real.
That's
No, I didn't get scammed.
No, he
My
just got
shit
hacked.
got
They
fucking
had-
hacked.
They were posting on his
That's
feed.
what scamming is.
No, but I know, but I'm saying my shit, like my entire account got taken over.
Yeah.
And like I have no control over
They
it.
have,
Dude,
they have
they got
pictures
me.
of him with
And
his
they're
ID.
trying to scam people.
They had pictures of him with his ID
Yeah.
that they're sending to people like, no, it's me, look.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad, bro.
Bro, I
Dude,
remember
I've
one time-
reached out to Facebook. I've gotten the fucking law enforcement involved. Everything, nothing's happened. Nothing's happened, bro.
I've had
It's been-
three
it's
people
been 3
message me
weeks,
saying
bro.
that they got scammed for like $50.
Dude,
I'm like, well, you're just dumb.
Dude,
I don't know what
Bridget,
you do about that.
Bridget,
Dude, I
Bridget
remember-
Spinney texted
I
me
remember
today.
you
She
tagged
said, "No,
me.
is this legit?" And
It's real and legit.
No,
You
I got
tagged
hacked.
Bro, you
It's real and legit.
The hacker,
It's real and legit.
bro,
That's what they said. It's real and legit.
the hacker
so funny.
tagged me on your fucking account or whatever, and like I literally commented on it. I was like, "Did you get hacked?"
And then you got
Like,
blocked.
I know, bro.
I guarantee
I remember
you're
one
blocked.
time they got me, dude. This was ingenious. They fucking what they did was like they sent me a message, like the same type thing, like you could win this amount of money, and I clicked on the link, and what happened was they had recreated a Facebook login photo, and what you do is you log back into Facebook, and when you do that, they just got your information right there. They don't have to do any type of work at all. I remember they got me one time. I was like, "Fuck, god damn it, dude."
Like, you're supposed to be a computer guy too.
Right, dude. That was a
scene.
while ago.
Nah, bro,
homie. That was
those
probably like high
Indians-
school.
The
Oh,
Indians
that's a
don't
bad
fuck
look
around,
for
man.
you.
Yeah,
That's a
bro.
bad look
Because
for you.
I got banned by your account because I commented and I said, all right, Abu, this isn't funny anymore.
Oh,
and I got
Dude, mass
blocked,
people
like,
have
just
mass
banhammered.
people have fucking reported it, commented on it, like, and like I cannot, dude. I reached out to Facebook, sent them emails,
just
everything.
shut the account down.
No,
Like,
No,
that's what I'm saying,
That's
like-
literally what I told him.
Yeah,
I was like,
shut
I don't
it
even.
down.
I was like, I don't even want it back. Just fucking cancel it so this shit doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
Like they're trying to
Bro.
scam my friends and family. Like I'm not cool with that.
Facebook does not give a fuck.
No, not
as
at
long
all.
as long as
But
you're
like,
not
how
talking
can
shit
you,
about
how
Biden,
can you have
you're
a
fine.
Nate or a
Fucking
fucking literally
Zuckerberg.
fucking
Yeah.
I got-
global social media and you don't have any form of direct customer support?
I don't know, dude.
Makes
I
no
got,
sense.
I got zucked the other day because I commented
That
on
sucks.
one of my good friends, like probably one of the, like my top zucked band on Facebook.
I've never heard
I
that
said that
term.
sucks.
No, you said that.
Oh,
was
that sucks.
It does sound like you got sucked. I'm like, how much did he offer? How much?
$10,000.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I just said that
Again,
for
leave your
rock and
number.
roll.
Yes, but zucked. I've never heard of being
No,
zucked.
it's when you get
I
banned
like
for
that.
nothing.
I like
this is
that.
like one of
I
my
like
fucking like top 5 friends on Facebook. It's Chris Gibbs down from Tennessee or whatever. Like he comments on my shit. Like fucking,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
his shit. Like he said something. I forget what the context was, but I told him I was like, "I'll beat your ass, dude," and I got banned for it.
I actually remember you telling me.
Oh,
that.
dude, I called one of my buddies a giraffe on Facebook, and they legit sent me like that. Like this may go
Jesus
against
Christ,
our
have a
community.
soul,
I'll tell you
Noah.
what.
No, they were legit like this may go against our community standards,
Well,
and I'm
you
like,
have
what?
exactly.
Calling somebody a
Dude,
fucking
the
giraffe?
one, I
Like,
will say, I'm on their
What?
I'm on their fucking radar now. The one time some dude said some shit, and I fucking said, "Throw me that oop, and I'll stab you in the fucking neck." I was like, I might have deserved that one.
Well, that one, yeah, that seems a little more fair.
That is
It
what
definitely all is more fair than Noah calling a
is
man a
like-
giraffe in broad daylight and thinking he'd get away with it. What a clown!
Yeah, I'm a horrible
Stop
person.
giraffe hate.
Also, in general,
Stop giraffe. That's somebody hashtag
just in
that.
general, why would you say that? Like,
Well, because
What-
dude,
No,
so,
he look like-
so
You're
he's,
such a
he's
giraffe.
This dude runs
his
like
legs
a
are
giraffe.
Oh, so
literally
like
he's
an
like
idiot.
he's like 6'5" and
He
he's got
gallops.
but he's got real like
If he's
shaky
listening to this, he
legs. So when
knows
he
he's
runs,
what
he
we're
looks like
talking
a baby
about.
giraffe.
Like,
So I called him
so
a baby
funny.
giraffe
sure
on
people have said
Facebook,
about
and
me
they
in the
attacked me.
past.
okay, that's good. I'm happy we got context because I thought you were just like that was your primary
No,
word that
no,
you throw
no,
at people.
I don't
like,
just
such a
insult.
giraffe.
I
I'm
don't
like, what
just
does that
insult people by calling them giraffes.
This dude runs like
mean?
Bambi
I'm
with
happy we
3
got
legs.
some context behind that. Yeah.
God damn it.
That's hilarious.
Anyway.
Speaking of giraffes, cicadas are here.
Yeah, we
Cicadas
got
are
a couple
aliens.
news. We
you
got
mean
That's
the
all
government
animal
drones?
related.
cicadas
Fuck.
are here. I'm pissed.
They're
There aren't
kind
enough.
of here. I don't really. I have. Only
haven't seen one.
Like
I
a
heard the
couple-
first one today. I heard my first one today.
Well,
I've
I
seen a couple
saw,
of
I
the
saw one of
shells
them.
I'm
of
asleep
them
like a
in
baby.
my yard,
Yeah.
but I haven't actually.
The only
seen
I've
a
seen
living
one cicada. The one cicada I saw was still in its shell.
Really?
Yeah, and it had like some white, like stringy things coming out of the
Really?
back of it. Yeah.
My dog kept trying to eat the
I
like,
saw-
shells.
I
Apparently
saw
they're
two
really
of
good for
them
dogs,
today
though.
golfing.
Apparently they're really good for dogs. Like, there's a
I
ton
was
of
told
protein.
that somebody.
There's a ton of
I was
protein.
told the
apparently
shells
they got
are
a lot
bad.
of proteins. Most insects, I think, kind of are high in protein or whatever. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember when I
Just
was a
ask
kid.
Bear Grylls.
Last time we were,
Oh, dude, that guy.
dude, I
We had a
remember watching an
cameraman
episode of
and
him like he's like, yeah, out in the wild, you need to go get you some water, and he picks up this elephant fucking shit and fucking lifts it above his head and squeezes
Yeah,
water
dude.
out of it and drinks it. I was like, what is wrong with this dude?
Dude, he would literally
does he
go
have
steal
an
a
accent,
snake
or did you
skin and
just make
piss
that
in
up?
it and drink it.
No, he
For
is.
some reason,
On
I
Bad
haven't-
Grills.
Yeah, he
It
does.
was the
that's
wrong
right.
accent. It was the wrong accent. I went total Outback Australian
I was gonna
there.
say, no, he's like
He's
English.
definitely from the UK.
Yeah, when you said it, I was like,
On Bad
I
Grills.
think he's got an accent, but I
Outback
don't know if it's
Australia.
that. That was
He's a wild
Yeah.
man, okay?
Put
You went
another
Steve Irwin,
shrimp
you
on
were
the
looking-
bobby there, Spilly.
You went 100% Steve.
You went
Irwin.
Steve
You're like,
Irwin,
oh,
we were
any
looking for Bear
outdoorsman,
Grylls.
Crikey, look at that
Crikey!
view.
Crikey! Look at that
We were
bitch.
Still
looking
has
for
the best
naggers.
This is sports.
We were looking for naggers.
Dude, you need to chill.
The fucking, but yes, no, cicadas. So I haven't. There's some areas of Cincinnati that supposedly have already been like hardcore
Apparently,
infested
Delhi's the
with them.
worst.
I live in the heart of
but
Delhi.
dude,
I haven't
I
heard
saw
anything.
some dude today with a fucking stick, just like he's like cicada soup, ready to go, and it was just a pile of fucking cicada shells. And he was just mixing it,
It
with
is
the
gross.
stick.
Some people do that though. Like some people are looking forward to like killing cicadas and grilling them, or like.
I look forward to
Or
killing them.
baking
I remember.
I'll be the first to admit that.
Oh, dude,
I
I'll kill
remember
The
everyone
wiffle
when I
ball
see
bat,
it.
baby.
I remember
Lightning bug
17
style.
years ago, kids used to fucking pull,
Yeah,
they
their
pull
top
off
two
their head
legs.
with the front two legs,
Yeah.
like you pull their front
Oh,
legs
yeah, and then
and
the
it rips their head
legs.
off,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then they just fucking pop their eyes in their fucking mouth. Like, are you kidding me?
That's
Yeah.
weird.
That's just
I'm not
appalling.
about that life. I am pumped that I'm going to sleep real well with these cicadas.
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
background
will you?
noise
Because
is
you don't
weird.
really have a lot of like. I don't know
Woods.
how many will be around here. That yeah,
Trees are just wild.
trees
Well, I think
or anything.
Ohio. I think Ohio is one of the more hit places.
Dude, I saw a thing.
I
It
know
was
Delhi
like
is
it was like
supposed to be the
three.
worst
It was
around
I think Midway
Yeah.
West is like the fucking
it
highest.
was.
Well,
it
no,
was
that's
three-
all. That's all it is.
Well,
I
it's not
didn't
close to
realize
water, too.
we are the only part of the country that like
That
it's
gets the cicadas.
northeast
Yeah.
down to us, and like Ohio is like the last line. I think some places in like Kentucky, Indiana, but like nobody west of Indiana has like ever seen, heard of nothing of cicadas. It's
Well,
so annoying.
cicadas, there's multiple different species of cicadas, and some of them come out every year or whatever.
Yes,
But
there's
these
so many different broods.
These
that
in
they have.
particular, they spend like what 1/17 of their life underground, just like
Yeah.
burrowing and feeding on sap, and
Well,
then they
they're-
come out and fucking grow wings and fly around and mate, and then lay
they're-
eggs. And
They're
17
government
years later.
drones, right? Isn't that what we decided
People
earlier?
are
Every
I
17
never once said
Every
that.
every 17 years they come back to check on us.
It's the new census.
They bug you. They
just
fly. They
get
fly
the
in your
bugs
house. They
going
get
around.
surveillance on
they
you.
they polled 200 random Americans,
Yes.
and they all decided 65% decided that cicadas are government drones.
Yeah.
That,
Every
that
17
actually
years.
was that an actual thing?
No.
I was like, did I miss that before? What the
65
fuck?
was
You
like.
said
You never know anymore, dude. People are putting fucking gasoline in sandwich bags, so
Wow,
like,
yeah.
That's facts.
Without knowing that gasoline eats plastic.
right, right, dude. And you talk about we've been told to stay inside for the last year because of COVID, and people have bags of
That was fucking awesome. I love people, dude.
Oh
God
man.
damn
Fucking
it.
sick.
We live amongst the worst people. Dude.
Yeah, but cicadas are here, and some people are pumped about it, some people aren't. I remember it was a fun time when we were kids. And
I
stuff
really
like
don't
that,
give a
so.
fuck at the end. Like at the end of the day, like,
Yeah, I know.
it's gonna be a
only thing-
month. Like,
Well, they're gonna be a hassle because like they're fucking loud and obnoxious, and they're fucking
They're just everywhere.
if one hits me while I'm trying to go catch a fly ball in the gap, if one smacks me in the face, I'm done with them.
Yeah.
They're all dead to me at that
It's
point.
definitely gonna
if I
yeah.
make an error in a key moment of a big game because of fucking cicada,
I didn't even think of that, but that will be a major annoyance at like sporting
yeah.
events
Oh,
and
dude,
things of that.
yeah.
Like I didn't even because like what?
Dude,
I think we were in
imagine
third
trying
grade
to
when it
hit a
happened
fucking
last time.
tee shot down
Is
the
that right?
fairway.
What happened?
Yeah,
mean,
I think we were in third or fourth
there
grade
is
when
no
it happened
silence.
last time, so it really
Yeah.
didn't have any effect on my life other than just like going out in the backyard. And
Yeah, we were
whacking a
kids.
million
It was
with
like
a football.
smacking on
Yeah. I mean,
Shit.
dude, imagine you're on your backswing of hole 18 and you're about to shoot par and one smacks you
flies
in
in
the
your
face.
mouth.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
mean,
imagine
why's your
how
mouth
pissed
open
you
when you're
are.
swinging the
You
golf
already
ball?
used your mulligan. It's just a wrap for you at that
Yeah,
point.
it's just pissed.
that's a dick out at that point.
God
when you've
damn.
already used the mulligan, that's the dick
Oh,
out.
this is so tough, man.
I use
couldn't
mulligan for
imagine.
everything, not just golf.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
for sure.
I'll do it all the
Yeah,
time.
I'll try again.
like come too fast mulligan.
Oh, okay.
Round 2, baby. Let's go.
Mulligan.
Anyway,
Like, look, that wasn't me.
I'm gonna need
That
a
was not me.
mulligan on that nut.
I don't know what's fucking wrong with me today. I'm slightly drunk. Noah's fucking plastered. Stolze's getting there.
I'm on the way.
I don't know about Harmeyer. He's a
I'm
big
not,
dude.
dude. I've never been.
But One thing that we do need to bring up from last week, we talked a little bit about the whole unrest in the Middle East and stuff like that. They have actually put a ceasefire down in that.
Oh, they did. Okay.
It was like 2 days after the
but
podcast.
what happened when they did the ceasefire was
More
they
bombs.
started rioting. So
Fuck yeah.
they're
did
not
not
very
go well.
happy. It's still a high level of unrest, but they're not firing missiles at each other per se. So
And they're
I guess
pretty
it's a
much
step in
like,
the right direction.
Well,
but
like they had the ceasefire, and the U.S. stepped in like 3 or 4 days before the official ceasefire, and they pretty much told the U.S. to go kick rocks. They're like, no, you guys can fuck yourselves. We're handling our own shit over
Okay,
here.
fine.
And I was like, as a U.S. citizen, I'm like,
See, what
fucking finally, holy shit.
what
I'm
I-
so glad that we're just letting them handle their shit.
why are we
what
so
I read-
worried about everything everywhere else?
what I read, and keep in mind that I haven't read much
'Cause it was
about the
to the UN or
situation, but I saw that the U.S. had a very heavy fucking part in getting the ceasefire to happen.
I saw, they might have. I saw at one point that it was earlier, it was before you guys recorded your podcast that I saw that the U.S. was very heavily like pushing the UN to get them to have a ceasefire, and they're like, nah.
Well, I mean,
it
it's
ain't
not
happening.
it's not necessarily good for us because Israel is our biggest ally in the entire world.
That's
And,
that's
where
also
it's going down.
that's also the homeland too. I mean,
They're not our only ally.
America's
United
based off of
Kingdom-
God.
The only one that's
God
worth
is
a fuck.
supposed to.
And
Like in terms of helping
United
us,
Kingdom SAS don't fuck around, dude. We've got a couple allies, but
I'll take Israel Special
Israel is our
Forces over
biggest one, but
anybody.
that's just because there's the axis of the Middle East for us.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine that we probably played a pretty big hand in trying to get that dealt with because they're not going to be able to deal with it themselves. They've proved that over the past thousands of years.
yeah, that's just crazy.
It ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, but do you guys have any comments about anything? You guys weren't here last week. We kind of got all that out, but
Yeah, no, not really.
now there's a ceasefire. It's kind of just back to hating each other quietly.
But like it's gonna happen
All I
again.
have to say, and I won't name drop, I'm just going to say there was only one person to ever get a peace deal in the Middle East. That's all I have to say.
You talk about Trump.
I am, and that's why I said we don't.
Are you gonna do
No,
this?
no, not at all, not at all. That's why I said we don't have to talk about who, we don't have to talk about why or anything like that. But there's only one person to ever, and it was considered impossible, and he made it happen. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if there's ever been peace in the Middle East, but
No.
you know
And that's what I was to say. Like it's gonna happen.
Well, regardless, like you said, there's ceasefire, and then all of a sudden people are still fucking shit up. Like it's not gonna matter, but
yeah.
he at least was able to obtain it. That's all.
But
I'm
it's like
saying.
it's not even just that because like
you know
I remember
we're not doing it. You're
No,
entitled
that's
to your opinion,
what I'm
dude.
saying.
like-
I don't want to get into any of that. I'm just saying.
because like when we
that's
were in
all I
high
had to
school,
say.
I remember there it was like Jordan was getting rockets and shit sent over to them like nonstop. Jordan was like always under rockets. Like because I remember. I want to say we were in like Cal's class, like Coach Cal's class, and he was talking about how he's like, dude, you guys have it so good here because there's just kids over in Jordan right now that are sitting under desks, not knowing if their school's about to get fucking hit. And I'm like, bro, that's wild.
That's a crazy thought to have.
It's
yeah.
wild, man.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
It is fucking heavy. We are pampered living in.
I mean,
Oh,
dude,
for
could
sure.
you imagine? Like, you already didn't want to go to school as it is, but then now you got to go to school
Now I
with
might
the
get bombed.
possibility of where you might just like
See,
that
I never-
might be your last day, and you die. Imagine dying in school. How sad would you be in your afterlife?
I don't know, dude. The school system has definitely changed, especially because of COVID, and now they have school shooters and shit like that. School's starting to become like weird, man. Like,
Oh,
you
dude, I
have
would've
to worry
loved-
about getting shot when you go to school now.
Oh, dude, I would have loved to throw on my PJs and lay in my bed and take class online. That would have been
It's-
fucking
I would have
awesome.
just never done
See,
it.
I know-
Like,
I
would've
know- I
been
would've done
bad
anything.
about
I know a
getting
couple
online.
teachers,
for sure.
man. It's not.
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
but if you're
nearly
in
as
college,
good.
you have that
No,
luxury.
it ain't
But
good
if
at
you're in
all.
grade
Well,
school
yeah,
or high
but-
school, you still have to do it. Like,
Yeah, but when you're in
You're not being
college,
taught
like
anything.
you're fucking, you're teaching adults, not kids.
right, but how many
So-
people skip class at that point anyway? But what I'm saying is, like, think about it. Even in like grade school or high school, you still like would end up going. You know what I mean?
That's probably true. Yeah, when you're younger, I mean, you'd go.
Like because your parents are still sitting right there, like they're gonna make sure you're doing it.
Well,
Now,
that
if you're
was-
in a situation where your
that
parents
was one
aren't
of the
home all
things-
day, that's a different story.
That
But-
was one of the things that they were having issues with was
They
the
did have-
parents.
yeah.
The parents weren't fucking sitting there. They didn't have time necessarily to
They
stay
were
there
all
for
at
fucking
work.
6 hours.
They
a
were all
day
at
and
work.
shit like that. So
Right.
the kids weren't going to
Right,
fucking class,
exactly.
weren't getting on their Zoom calls and stuff. But
So
why
it's
would they?
great, but it's also not good for anybody. Like,
Dude,
it's,
you know
But
what's
long term,
there's
it's not good at all.
there's benefits and there's
The long term is terrible.
Very
I know what the worst
I
part
don't
about
see
it
any
all
benefits.
is.
No,
in
long
that.
term.
There's like
long-term
no
is
such
terrible.
thing as snow days
And as
now.
Yeah, well, but the thing
Fuck.
is
And
like,
as, like,
we're
a
putting our
social-
kids at
That's the
handicaps.
unit.
And
Remember
as, like,
you
a
like
social
flush your
thing.
toilet twice and shit?
Oh, dude.
Trying to get the snow cup.
As like a social thing too, when you're
Forks under
fucking
the
taking
bed.
classes on Zoom as a child, like fucking that developmental
You ain't paying
stage and shit
attention.
like that, like, can you imagine fucking like us being in school for fucking 12 years on a Zoom call and then like
Right,
trying to go
yeah,
out and
right.
socialize in college?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I
'cause-
already fucking have social anxiety.
Well, not to
from
mention,
fucking
like,
because a
there.
lot of what you get is like from just becoming a person and a human is interaction with people every day. Like at school, you're with people every single fucking day, so you're dealing with. It was like when Joe Burrow got drafted. He talks about how he was around all these different types of people. Like that's what you get through school. You get people from lower income, higher income, middle income.
yeah.
Different ethnicities. Like you learn how to react and interact with people. Like
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
That's
why
what we're
there
taking
is-
away from them.
That's
Yeah,
why there is
exactly.
value to fucking
Exactly.
putting
Yeah,
someone in a
100%.
fucking classroom.
100%.
Oh yeah,
And-
and in terms of explaining something online versus like having somebody be able to explain something to you right there,
Well, and
where
show
they can,
you.
like, yeah,
Right, and have a
person,
teacher
too. Yeah.
teacher map out
Dude,
a math problem.
yeah,
I
or
remember the
something.
first
Right.
online class I ever took. It's such a learning curve to try and do online courses. And it was in college when I first did it, but like I remember having those online courses, and some of them were a sham, but.
Well,
At the
it's
same
just
time, like,
so easy to get
you have
distracted.
some that you have to watch. You have to like watch these fucking presentations or whatever that the people are doing, like the lectures online. It's like I'm not gonna fucking do that. I'm just gonna fucking copy and paste the answer or the question that I have on the quiz and fucking put it into Google. And I'll tell you what, I got good at that. By the end of college,
You're
dude.
sitting at your own house, dude. It's so easy to get distracted on anything. I mean, there might be a bird
distracted
fly
when
by
I'm
your
there.
fucking window. You know what I mean?
As
You're
if
like,
my
oh,
ADD wasn't already bad
exactly.
enough.
Yeah. Now you get to sit in your own bed and look at it up through a computer. It's just.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked because of the situation that we were in, but as far as like long term benefits, like Luke was saying, it's not good.
Luckily,
There's no long term like benefit or like positive outlook from that.
Luckily, we're getting back to probably the point where like we're sending kids.
Yeah, what
Some
is
states.
it's going to be a little bit different
June
because
2nd in Ohio we're fully open.
yeah,
right?
yeah, but it's not necessarily that. Just because Ohio does that, because select schools and businesses are fucking exempt from it.
It's
And
all it's
when
all
you're talking
private
about
shit, yeah.
when you're talking about children and stuff like that are going to school, one of the problems that one of my friends told me when he was a teacher, he's like, one of the big issues that we're having is it's like these are such a young generation and their immune systems are still growing.
Yep.
So when one kid has fucking coronavirus, the entire school shuts down for 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to fucking send people back to school
Right,
when like if you have 400 kids in your fucking grade
Right,
school or whatever,
right.
one of them gets COVID, everyone doesn't go to
Yep.
school.
and young kids are all over the fucking place.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
they're gonna get everybody
they-
infected.
yeah, I mean,
like, there's no handling
Keeping
that
kids
situation.
inside is
bro.
terrible though, because you
My-
can't build an immune system.
My little
Exactly.
shithead nephew.
And that was the one thing with the quarantine shit that I hated. It was like, yeah, like I get it, like, stay inside, stay away from the virus, but at the same time, if you're like hiding and not being exposed to all these germs and everything for an extended period of time, your immune system actually weakens.
Yeah.
So then when you do, like let's say it's a month that you didn't go outside. Now when you finally do go outside, it could be a basic germ that me or
Fucks
you,
with you, yeah.
every day would experience, but that person for a month that's been sitting in their
Well,
house, that
now
might
you
get
gotta
them sick.
That's
you
what
know,
the
like-
whole that's what the whole herd immunity
Yeah.
was that they were
Yep.
talking about. They're like, it's going to be to a point where like everyone's going to have to get it before we like grow an immunity
Exactly.
to the disease, just like
Exactly.
the fucking flu. And, shit like
And that's why I've always been like, that's why I've always said like, let's just keep everything open, let's just keep doing everything, and if it becomes like seriously that bad to where like everybody is infected, then that's one thing. But the way that it was like, I mean, I know a very few people that got infected with it. Other than that, it was.
COVID?
I know a ton of people.
I know a ton. of people
I
that
know
got
a
it.
very few people. Other than that, it was people that knew people.
But it wasn't
Like,
even. It's not even the fact that they were
But
worried
either
about
way,
the
it's a
infection
simple
rate.
fact. Like you need to.
You need
be
to grow an immune
exposed.
system.
You need
Yeah.
to be exposed. You need to grow antibodies.
Yeah.
So like, But that was the thing is when they were testing people with COVID, if you had antibodies, they were saying that you had COVID.
Well, I think that's a problem that they're having with a lot of kids now that we live in that whole, like, we're not necessarily in the fucking industrial revolution anymore. We're in, like, the social media revolution or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It's a technology revolution.
Kids are inside on their phones all the time. It's like, I was playing in a fucking creek when I was 10 years old. Like,
drinking water from the hose in the side yard and shit like that.
Just out there fucking getting it.
Exposing ourselves to everything.
Cut on your knee, rub some dirt in it, goddammit.
Yeah.
Fucking help your immune system.
Seriously, dead ass, man.
Yeah. Speaking of, I remember there was a time when me and Keith were playing in his creek, and we walked pretty far away from his house, and some guy was threatening to, like, shoot us with a gun because we were playing in his backyard.
So the creek that runs by my old house or whatever, I think it's called Taylor's Creek, and it runs from, like, where my house was in, like, Dent all the way to, like,
yeah, that
Harrison.
sounds right, Taylor's Creek.
Yeah, and it's like it's just, and it expands and it, like, branches out and stuff like that. But we were walking around and we were coming down Remlin, that part of Remlin, like it runs right through there, and it was like, at that point of it, it's like knee-deep fucking sewage water and shit. Me and Harmeyer are just chugging through.
I don't know what, we're probably acting like we're like in the army or
something.
Oh,
dude, 100%. You guys,
100%.
You guys were walking through the marsh in Vietnam to go take out.
I used to call it playing with sticks, dude. It was just literally just swinging sticks like you're a fucking old fucking.
Yeah, we'd act
soldiers.
like we had swords and shit.
Sticks. That's excellent.
But we're just trudging through this fucking creek, and we get to this dude's house, and this dude's just sitting on his fucking porch watching us, and we get to right where like the start of his fucking house is, and he goes, "Hey, you guys can't come through here." And we're like, "What?" He's like, "You're not allowed through here. Turn around." We're like, we almost completed the circuit around to come back up to where Windmere was, and fucking this dude's telling us we need to go back, and we're like 10, so we're like,
okay.
So
you make the rules, mister.
We walked all the way back around, dude. Fuck that guy.
That's the thing when you're younger, anybody older than you makes the rules. It does not matter. Like, if you're 10 years old,
dude, you're terrified of every adult, dude. You're just like, I'll do it. I'll do it.
An adult could tell me to do anything when I'm 10, and I like 90% of it, I'd be like, oh, okay, sure.
Well, especially when they were a stranger, too, and, like, they would get, like, brick with you, you freak out. You're like, okay, yeah. I'll do exactly what you say, because, like, I'm terrified right now. 100%.
$1,000?
My little shithead nephew, when I was down in Nashville the other week, like he was playing with this soccer ball, and my buddy Ryan took the soccer ball and threw it at him because he was being a little like whiny little bitch and shit like that, and he threw a soccer ball.
How old is he? Hold on, I just want to get
he's 8.
Okay.
That whiny little bitch.
When you said he was being like a whiny little bitch and like throwing soccer balls at him, I'm picturing it's like 3 or something.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, let's give the kid a fucking break.
But anyway, he started throwing a fit, and he's like, "This is my soccer ball. You're not allowed to touch my soccer ball," and like wrote out a note. "Nobody in this house is allowed to touch. Not my daddy, not Kendra, not Uncle Keith," and fucking put traffic cones around this goddamn soccer ball.
Oh fuck yeah!
In my front yard, in Jack's front yard, and I walked out and I saw the note and I was like, "Hey, you know what I think about this?" He's like, "What?"
Fuck your ball.
I grabbed it and fucking threw it out of my kid, dude. Like, fuck you, kid. God damn it.
That's all out though.
I love Jackie, but yeah, god damn it, sometimes, dude. Sometimes.
Man, kids have the best imagination ever. They pick up the ball and be like, "Oh, I'll just put cones around it." But
now there's a force field.
Nobody will ever touch it.
And here's the transition. Now the ball is filled with element 115. Nobody can touch it.
I was about ready to do the same thing, dude. That's what we really wanted to get into in this podcast. We're about 30 minutes in and we haven't even touched the fucking the special topic that we had.
Hey, it wouldn't be one of these podcasts without side nonsense.
Well, I mean, we don't plan anything when we come to. Well, we do plan a little bit, like we have topics.
But that's what makes us so authentic.
But usually,
and fun,
I swear to God, dude, and that was one problem that we had with Max. Max really wanted like more structure to the podcast and stuff like that. I think our best topics are when we're just fucking going off the top of the head.
Just guys being dudes.
Just guys being dudes. But yeah, we're talking about.
Hey, Spillz, it's your house, is my rules, brother.
No, that's not how that works.
Still their
This
rules.
is my podcast.
Still
it's
their
my
rules.
house. Still my rules, goddammit.
All right, we'll get butthurt about my awesome joke about your podcast.
No, dude.
All right, whatever.
No,
yeah, that's
you
cool.
can't do it. But yeah, we're talking about fucking aliens today. The reason why this one came up, well, it was the whole like space thing in general is something that like I've been really interested in for a very long time. I've told people before that like I swear to God, if I ever become a millionaire, like famous, and I'm just making buku money and shit like that, I will literally go back to school and fucking spend money to become an astrophysicist and do that, just because it's so interesting to me. But it is because of that, and because my dad's kind of a little kook when it comes to the alien shit. Like he's like a Roswell like believer and stuff. Dude, shout out Glenn. Like I was telling him about I was talking to him about aliens one day, and he's like, you know about this guy Bob Lazar? I was like, who the fuck are you telling? And I was
hell yeah,
talking to me about Bob Lazar.
is.
But my dad's like, he's like, I remember when they released those videos from the documentary
on CBS.
Yeah, he's like, I remember this from the
PBS.
80s,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit. So maybe
Now I
you got
feel dumb.
maybe you got me
Now
on
he's
that
like,
one.
who the
Well,
fuck do
yeah,
you
I mean,
think
when you
you
think about it, like
are?
obviously
Yeah.
he would have been around.
It was a big
like,
flex
when
on
they
you
had
right there.
when they had Bob Lazar, like just the silhouette of him.
Just the silhouette,
like,
yeah.
Your dad was probably watching that on PBS.
He was-
like that was a big deal.
He was living it, dude. No,
Like, that was George Knapp. Like,
en-
Knapp is that guy.
My entire fucking life, my dad is a pretty firm believer in fucking that we have been visited by fucking an alien.
I think it's ignorant to.
But
think
here's
we
the thing:
haven't.
he doesn't think that we've gone to the moon.
I think we've gone to the moon. I think the footage is fake
That might be true.
because
the first time
the
around,
the camera,
the first time around.
the film, from what I saw or like read, whatever you want to call it, it was the radiation coming back. The film wouldn't have been able to make it through. So they faked the moon land. Like they faked the footage of it.
I think it was.
Well, that was
footage looks
during,
super
that was
fake.
during the Cold War.
I don't
they
think
needed to flex.
I'm skeptical when it comes to like a lot of this shit, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. But like the moon landing, I think that the moon landing actually
It
happened.
Well, that's what
I
makes
don't-
this
I
shit
don't
so
think
fun.
that it was fake at all. I think people who try to say that are just reaching. I really don't know.
But
so
why
I don't
haven't
wanna
we been
comment on
back?
that, but we have been back. We went to the moon a couple times.
Oh, we've
but-
been to the moon a lot.
Well, I'm saying
We
like
haven't-
to a point where
we
it was
haven't
like,
every
hey,
8 years,
everybody
isn't it?
sit around your
Well,
TV.
the
Also
thing
don't
about
know.
the thing
I don't know
about it
nothing about
is
the moon.
you're talking
That's
about
what I
like
thought
why
when I
haven't
was
we
in
been
grade
back
school.
since like the last couple decades or whatever.
Right.
At that point, it's like, yeah, we got the technology to go to the moon, and we forgot the technology to go to the moon because we were just doing it as like a space race to Russia just so we could beat them.
It was
But,
literally
like,
a Cold War
what
flux,
fucking
yeah.
significance does going to the moon happen with us right now?
There's a whole
Like,
lot
we
of
can't
theories
build-
about the dark
we
side of
can't
the
build
moon.
we can't build a colony up there. We don't have the fucking technology to like actually build a sustainable colony up there. So why the fuck are we going to go to the moon? Just to collect moon rocks?
And I know we're talking about aliens a lot on today's show, and this is totally against like all of that. I just don't care. Like when it comes to like exploring. No, not like aliens. It's fun. I'll explain. But when it comes to like,
So you're
let's
not one of
spend
Elon's
millions.
monkeys.
Dude, we've been talking about this topic on the fucking podcast for 2 weeks, and Harmeyer
I
waits
don't
until
care.
30 minutes in to be like, you know what?
just
I don't
don't-
give a fuck
I
about
just
any
don't
of this.
care.
People get me, like. I just don't understand why we give a shit to explore the moon that much. It's a fucking. We figured it out. It's the moon.
No,
it's not
no.
even
We
that.
we should be exploring
The
space
moon.
more
We
than
should
we
be
are
exploring our fucking ocean.
more than that too.
We should-
But we don't
I'd
have
be
the
way
technology
more
for that
interested in exploring the ocean. That would be unbelievable.
don't have the
No,
technology for
don't
that
get me
either.
wrong. The ocean like exploration and shit. I believe in all of it because we can figure out a lot more about traveling out into space. One of the reasons why I'm a strong believer of why we need to fucking travel into space and stuff like that is because we are growing at an exponential rate, and fucking this world is not going to be
We're
able
gonna
to
suck
sustain.
ourselves
We're not
fucking
gonna.
humans
Yeah. That's why
forever.
Bill Gates wants population control.
That's why
Population
Elon
control
wants
is-
to go to Mars.
It's a serious
It's a legitimate. It's a
I mean,
legitimate thing.
China
yeah.
China has fucking
Yeah.
population
Yeah.
control.
Yeah, aren't you
Yeah,
only
as-
allowed
as-
to have
as
like
fucked
2
up-
kids
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah,
Your
as-
firstborn has to be a
As
male.
fucked up as it is, population control is a real thing because you begin polluting your atmosphere when you have too
Yeah.
many
Right,
people.
right.
Yeah,
And,
and that's-
and
that's
cows
just
fart
based off
and
of
all kinds of stuff.
That's
But
part of
that's
the
just
reason-
based off of just straight. I mean, even from humans, just basic carbon dioxide output Just you know what I mean, like
Well,
that
yeah,
alone will kill your environment.
Well,
is
the
having too much.
carbon footprint that we've put on the earth.
Exactly.
We've done a lot to this fucking planet.
Dude, exactly.
To
Like,
make
have you
me
ever-
believe that we need to fucking at least start looking into other options and stuff like that.
Find out if we can start.
Well, but that's why
else.
Elon wants to send people to Mars. And like, I don't know if you saw his tweet the other day. Elon literally said he's like, going to Mars, like, people will die. He's like, this is
No,
totally
you
exploratory.
shared that. You
Well, dude,
shared
it's a
that.
mission.
It was,
It's
it
a
was like,
mission. I mean,
he
it's
said the first
literally,
people.
let's find out what happens.
He's like, people might die. He's like, people are going to die.
an
No, he
experiment.
didn't say.
He said people
didn't
are
say-
going to die.
He
Like,
didn't say. Yeah, he said people are going to die.
Yeah.
He said the first mission to Mars. He's
straight
like, you're
explorers.
basically fucking doing a suicide. Fucking.
You're Lewis and Clark.
It's
dude.
an
Like,
experiment.
you're just
Like,
going.
it's like, all right, let's see
Yeah,
what happens. Like,
I mean,
let's see what happens.
It's like negative fucking 216 degrees or something at night, and it's like fucking
hot
like
during the day.
really hot during the day because it doesn't have a fucking atmosphere. It can't keep the fucking gases in and stuff like that. Yeah, it's fucking crazy that like. He's trying to put people there. He's basically going to send them to their deaths.
Well,
And at the same
that's what
time,
makes
he's
him
going
so
tunnels
awesome,
under
though,
Los
is that
Angeles.
he's the guy to write up a
But that's the-
contract
that's
that
the
says,
thing
hey,
about-
you might die, but you're more than
That's the
welcome
thing
to
about
try.
it, and that's my comment to him. It's like we need to start fucking
Yeah.
putting this shit in the process. We need to start fucking having people, and there's going to be hell
There's
of
gonna be
people
so
that
many
volunteer.
people.
Dude, I tell you what, it's one.
Dude, all them
it's
rich
the one thing
motherfuckers
on
would
my
be like,
bucket
bet, I
list.
got the money.
It ain't
for it."
It's
even
the
that.
one thing on my bucket list that I don't think that I will ever be able to
to
to ever fucking attain is to fucking step foot on another fucking world.
On another
I'll
world.
tell-
yeah.
Just
I'll tell you what,
bucket list.
I'll-
Just people are like, I'd
Way to
like to
set
go
the-
to a
way to
different
set the
country. And you're
bar.
like,
I tell
but
you
just
what,
to
dude,
leave
I wanna get on a
just to leave
fucking
this
spaceship
planet,
and
even
go
just
to
to
a
see
different
space is a
planet.
big
I'll
deal.
tell
Well, you can do
what,
that
dude,
now. They
if
have
fucking,
Japan will do
if
that.
Elon was taking fucking like vouchers to go to fucking Mars or some shit like that, I'd need to be a little bit older in my life because I know that it's a fucking death
To
sentence.
when you could say, all right,
Like,
maybe,
dude,
but
I
fuck
would
it.
do that shit like this, dude.
As long as,
I don't
like-
give a fuck.
But you have like
bro.
no ties or nothing like that. You just say, fuck
fuck.
it, let's send it.
I am so thrown off by that bucket list. That is awesome.
I mean, the bar
That
is
is way
racing.
up.
That is so good.
Like, I know you're a
tier.
tall
I
guy,
like
but that
that.
bar
That's
is.
that
top
is
thing.
top
That's
tier.
literally top thing on my
Set
bucket.
My
foot
bucket
on
list is
another
like, go to
planet.
all 30 MLB stadiums. He's like, I want to go to fucking Jupiter. Kill me. I don't care.
If I don't end up on
Send
the
me
fucking
out
ring
to
of
Saturn.
Saturn,
Let's go
That's
see
what I
space.
commented when you shared the thing about
Yeah.
Elon Musk or whatever. It was like Elon Musk says mission to Mars is probably a suicide mission. I commented, I was like, sign me the fuck up,
Yeah,
dude. I was
Well,
like,
here's the
kill
thing.
two birds with one stone. I don't want to be alive and I want to step on another
Yeah, I
planet.
mean, if
So-
you're in the camp of wanting to commit suicide, what a way to go.
But here's the thing.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's way better than the
if I go out,
conventional
I might
way.
as well go out.
and if you and
literally
if you're
are-
successful, you have nothing.
You're a
to worry
legend.
about.
Dude, if you're
Ever
successful,
again.
you're a
Like-
legend.
like, shut the
and
fuck up, I want
everybody
the bar.
knows who you are. Like, you literally achieved
Like,
full
imagine
fucking
being-
popularity
imagine
if
being
you,
like
make,
Lance
if you make it.
Armstrong.
And if not, then you died in one of the coolest missions
One of the
all
coolest
time.
ways
Like,
of all time.
like,
bro.
I mean, dude, it's
That
a
is
win-win.
true.
It is a win-win.
Keith Billy on my fucking on my gravestone. Keith Billy, death by Mars.
Death by Mars.
There is no body here.
and it's
And the year is just a bunch of question marks because we're like, he was, I don't know, he was light years
Bro,
away. We're
And
not
I know,
sure.
I know.
Yeah,
I think we had brought this up on a podcast at one point. They had like the 4K, the new drone or whatever that they had on Mars that
Oh,
was
yeah,
in 4K or whatever.
Yeah, where
you're
people-
like, I could care less about that, dude. I was like fucking slow stroking it.
Yeah, I just-
was
Like, look at those fucking
the
hills.
Mars-
God, look at that fucking red dirt, dude.
So in general, like the whole space thing is very cool to me, but the fact that we just keep going to Mars and taking fucking photos and being like, we can't live here,
That's
and
just
then
as far as we can go.
And then we're
right.
trying so hard to
I
get
like-
people
I
there.
like
we
the
can, we
idea.
can go. I mean, Voyager has officially left our fucking solar system. It's in interstellar space now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
and that's
interested in
wild
that type of
itself.
stuff. When I said I don't care, it's more of like not Mars, the moon. When we talk about going on the moon
Oh, the
and shit
moon's
like
pointless,
that,
yeah.
I'm just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, the moon's
just,
pointless. Like,
not
let's
care.
let's
go find
explore-
some
and
fucking
that's the
aliens.
Let's explore space.
That's the thing
Yeah,
about
that's
like
yeah.
I'm all down for exploring space and stuff. Elon's got his fucking theories about going to Mars. I don't necessarily think that that's where we need to do. I think we need to look bigger because
Dogecoin.
like it's
Find,
obvious.
find an inhabitable.
Speaking of moons.
It's obvious that like our solar system where it's at now, like none of the fucking satellites around our planets or the planets themselves are going to be like able to actually sustain fucking human life. So we need to find something that will actually be able to sustain human life. And I'm not saying that our solar system can't sustain life, because we really have no fucking examples of what will actually happen.
Well, we need to know
except
what's
for
outside of our
I mean, if you think
galaxy.
about it, Europa is I think it's Saturn. It's a moon of Saturn, but Europa is largely like a fucking ice planet. It's mostly fucking water, and like the outer shell of it is ice, but it's believed that there are gigantic oceans underneath it. And like you guys were saying before, exploring our fucking sea, it's highly likely that underneath all that ice or whatever, there's just like what we have in Marianas Trench on our own planet. Right. And like, if you've seen, I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, dude, and it was this nature guy who's on Animal Planet or whatever. They were talking about like giant squids and stuff, and like they have this deep sea footage of a oil tanker. And these motherfucking aliens, do you know what I'm talking about? Dude, they were these squid-like creatures, but they had long, like you know how their how like a squid tentacle is like it's loose, dude. It's not bony.
Right.
These were like bony fucking tentacles,
like
that were
spider-looking things.
They were like the size of Pepe. They were like maybe like fucking 6 feet. Their head, their tentacles were like 100.
For reference,
their feet, their tentacles were like 100 fucking feet, and they were like bony, like arms.
Yeah, it was like an exoskeleton,
like walking type shit. Like
it's the most alien shit that I've ever seen in my entire life, and like,
and that's what I think. I think the most alien shit that we will experience on this planet is 100% in the deep sea. Like
deep sea.
Well, yeah, on this planet.
Deep sea.
I was gonna say the most alien thing you'll ever see is your dream
Them
state.
damn Mexicans!
It's your dream state. Like, all right, Pepe, did you hear that? I'm sorry, buddy. You didn't need to. You didn't need to hear that.
Orale, Holmes.
But no, like
I'm so
the most
sorry.
alien thing you'll ever see is like when you're dreaming. Like that's the dream state is when your brain will work into dimensions that otherwise you would never get into.
And you were talking about that before, like the whole thing of being dream state is like an interdimensional type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember most of my dreams anymore.
I can never remember my dreams.
Well, but that's like what Alex Jones talked about on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Well, that man was talking about like 12th dimensional vampires. And
No,
like
I know,
a swarm fucking culture.
But it's the one where he's talking about the Nazis, and he talks about how they used to take DMT and shit, and they would literally like have conversations and meetings with interdimensional beings.
So
fuck yeah.
I'm probably the only one here that's actually done DMT before. So like, I'll tell you what, I can see why people think that that's like an interdimensional thing and like it's like a spiritual thing, but like to be completely honest with you, you're just fucking high.
Right, 100%. But it's like nothing. It's like anything else where like if you really focus on it, that may be an obtainable thing.
If
you
you're
know
talking about what he had just mentioned, when you're talking about once you go into the sleep state, it starts opening up like another dimension.
Exactly.
That's what DMT does.
Exactly. It releases all those chemicals that make you dream.
Like that. So, yeah, I could see a
so
little
whether
bit
it
of
was real or
legitimacy
not, the basic simple fact is like you can control your own mind state and the things that you want to do. So whether they were speaking to interdimensional beings or not, there's a good chance that they thought that they were speaking to interdimensional.
Well, yeah, you're just fucked up.
It's crazy, dude. I know.
It's just a crazy concept to like try to wrap your mind around.
I know a lot of people who have. I mean, obviously, I'm in the music festival industry. There's a lot of drugs that go through there and stuff. I know a lot of people that like have had situations where like they do DMT or whatever, and they have like. Not just a very similar, but exact same experience with the person that they took DMT with.
Okay, so
like they're
which
saying
is weird.
The same
yeah,
thing.
Which is
and it's
weird.
Like, it's like how do you explain that?
So basically, what you're like in a dumbed down sense, you're basically saying that those two people's electromagnetic brainwaves were on the same spectrum
wavelength.
Wavelength. And
Alex Jones.
So how does that happen? You know what I mean? Like there's something with that is just way too too fucked up.
It could be like something that like the actual drug does to you. It could just be one of those things where it's like a mass hallucination where it's like after you're done, you know, like when you dream, you rapidly forget that the second that you wake up.
You may just like when somebody says something, you're just like, oh yeah, that happened to me.
That happened to me too. So you don't necessarily remember, and you're just like, I've done it before. And when you actually trip on DMT and like you come out of it after the 15 minutes. You're not tripping anymore, but there's this glow to you where it's like you feel very good.
The reason I get so hooked on the electromagnetic waves, like the brain waves, is there's actually been studies that have been done, and they actually did it in Hawaii during their last tsunami, where if they vibrate the power lines to a specific frequency, they can like calm people down. Like when there's a natural disaster, they can vibrate the power lines, which will calm you down instead of like freaking out and doing stupid shit. It will calm you down, and it like helps avert more people dying in natural disasters. So like that's why I get so in on the electromagnetic brainwaves, because like there's actual documented proof that they did that. So like that's crazy to me. Like okay, if you can vibrate the power lines enough to make people feel calm. What can you do if you vibrate them enough to make people freak out?
Now that's just something that they've probably done. I don't know what study you're talking about, but
it's well documented. I didn't believe it either when I first read it.
And that's cool and stuff. And it is great that like they were able to fucking find a difference in human behavior by doing that.
Right.
But it's understanding why that shit happens.
Right.
What we really need
that's what I'm saying. Why did somebody say, "Oh, hey, we can literally control a population of people by just doing this"?
Well,
so what comes when same asshole decides to do it?
I have issues with saying
panic.
I have issues with saying that we are necessarily controlling people in that way, because people think that like fluoride is a fucking mind control thing. It's not necessarily
controlling
fluoride.
you. It's like convincing you that everything's all right.
I'll tell you this. Like I said before,
it's more like when you get a massage and everything's relaxed and. What is a massage? You're sitting in a massage.
Manipulate.
Exactly.
You're easier to manipulate.
You're relaxed.
Trust me, I know. I've seen a lot of people who are fucking. We've all seen a lot of people who are fucking intoxicated out their ass. They're more
and easy to manipulate because you don't realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we live in a very like intricate world that like.
Dude, and it gets
one
worse
thing
and worse
can fucking
every day.
affect you in just the most astounding way.
Yep. Facts. And it could be something that's nothing.
But. We should start getting into a little bit.
What a random rabbit hole that was. That was crazy.
I literally didn't have anything to say.
I had no idea what to say. That was awesome.
Dude, I'm telling you,
you guys were in, and I'm fine with it.
It was a good one.
I stared at the ground.
Dude, I've been waiting.
It was like aliens, and then it jumped to like Nazis doing DMT, and then it
aliens. No. Electromagnetic brainwaves.
The Nazis, dude. The Nazis.
It all ties together. It all ties together.
But like what I was trying to say.
I don't doubt that it all ties together. It was a deep cut. That was it just went so deep into that.
I'll reel it back a little bit. So when you guys were talking about like multiple people having like the same experience, Alex Jones went into detail with there was some army major. Mad Dog Mueller. I
know.
So he was talking about how he was down in South America somewhere and they were doing ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that there was like 100 people doing ayahuasca. And they all, like, they separately were interviewed after the trip and everything, and they all explained the exact same trip. Like, they saw these humanoid-looking figures coming out of the tree line and interacting with them. And the argument as to why that was, what they were seeing was truly real was because when everybody has a different experience, like with alcohol, like, it affects you differently than it affects me, or weed, or whatever, is that's when you're high or that's when you're intoxicated. But when everybody sees the same thing, you're opening a gate, basically. Because it's a group thing. Like, there's so much energy and so much everything going around. Like, it's an actual
it's just like if you've ever done shrooms. Like, so the first time I ever did shrooms, our entire group was on shrooms except one guy. That one guy that came around us when we were all on shrooms, we were like, dude, you need to like go away, like, because the vibe was not there. Like you're all on a similar wavelength, you know what I mean? And you feel it. And then when that one guy comes around that's not tripping with you, you're like, all right, something's like
you're
weird.
not you're not seeing
He
the same
wasn't.
thing.
It sounds like he wasn't a very good trip sitter.
No, he was no, dude. This was one of my buddies that literally just chills. Like he doesn't say a fucking word, nothing. Like was literally just sitting there. But
I mean, it's like that.
But
with
I legit
alcohol,
looked.
too. Like, you're not
legit,
drunk. Fuck you.
Yeah, I legit looked at him and I was like, dude, like you're kind of wigging me out right now. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I can literally tell that you're not tripping with us. Like this is like it's bugging me out. And everybody in the same group all looked at him and they were like, yeah, I feel the same way. Like you need to
mass hallucinations are weird. I thought this was what you were alluding to, but there was like this thing, I think it was in South America, maybe it was in Europe or whatever.
They do a lot
like,
of ayahuasca.
Where like there were like hundreds of thousands of people gathered in like a fucking town square for like this big event, and like they saw lights in the sky and shit like that. And this is like the 1800s. This is before like cameras and shit like that, or like actual high quality cameras.
Mexico's huge.
And that's one of the big problems when it comes to like, have we been visited? Have we fucking, has alien life ever fucking visited Earth or whatever? It's like most of the stories that you hear are largely speculation, and the ones that like gain a little bit of like clout to them are the ones that like there's this whole community, like Skinwalker Ranch you were talking about. There's this whole community and they're all fucking talking about the same exact thing, and like they all genuinely believe it, but there's no actual evidence to fucking prove that.
There's just cows in their blood.
I'll tell you the one reason that I believe in like the alien shit and all that is because it seems to always happen in places that are not largely inhabited.
They know exactly what they're doing.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so, like, think about it. So, go back to...
Neil deGrasse Tyson has been quoted this. He says, listen, if we've ever been visited by a fucking another culture from another alien life form or whatever,
actually know.
They have traveled from fucking a different solar system over here. They are so much more advanced than us.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like you think of like, so like you go all the way back to like grade school. We all went to fucking Catholic grade schools. You know what I mean? And they tell you about Mary Magdalene, where she saw Mary, the Virgin Mary, and people saw Jesus come back from the dead and all that. It's always in places that are not largely inhabited or like controlled by a lot of people. So why is it always in places that you're like, I've never even heard of that, or I've barely heard of that? Because they know what they're doing. They're coming and making their appearances into places that are not going to be like, okay, we are giving ourselves away. That's why I.
Well, yeah, of course they want to be stealthy. They don't want us to see us and shit like that.
And and it's always near the largest bodies of water.
Well, if you watch, this is what we kind of wanted to get into. So if you're caught up on like Bob Lazar and the Commander Fravor and some of the George Knapp, the shit that's out there or whatever, a large amount of the sightings, and I put air quotes around that, are usually around military bases.
Yep.
And a lot of the fucking UFO sightings that have happened throughout the years, they all didn't really start happening until we got a nuclear weapons program. And it would make sense that because
weird timing.
They're just watching over us.
It's not weird timing. It's perfect timing. Because
But what I'm saying is it's weird.
We don't blow ourselves up.
But what I'm saying is it's weird that as soon as we develop that, all of a sudden we start.
But that's what we're saying.
That's weird. That's not weird.
No. But what I'm saying,
they're detecting us. They have fucking radar and shit.
I guess the word is ironic. It's irony.
That's what we're saying.
It's not ironic at all. It has to do with like there's a certain fucking scale of what is going to happen evolutionally with a culture or with an alien race or something like that. Now that we have got to the point where we're not just skinless monkeys fucking fighting with swords anymore, now we're fucking launching nuclear weapons at each other.
Yeah, we don't even have to fight each other.
These are weapons that are so powerful that other fucking alien nations have been able to detect it, and now they're like, we need to watch these motherfuckers.
Right, that's what and when I say irony, I mean like the fact that like, oh, okay, now we develop these, now all of a sudden we're getting these other people that are like. I don't mean like irony in the sense of like, oh, now they're here all of a sudden because they want to attack us. I'm saying because like, okay, now that they see that we're doing this, it's like, oh shit, like because they've probably all these alien life forms have probably watched multiple like.
Well, there's
civilizations fall apart.
There's a lot of theories that, and if you get into like the whole Bob Lazar thing and stuff like that, he was in fucking what's it called, Stolze S4, I think is what it's called.
Sector S4, S5.
Yeah, of Area 51. They've got apparently these spaceships there that fucking have like gravitational propulsion to them and stuff like that, and. If you think about it, they apparently have like 12 of these, and they're all different crafts, and you're thinking to yourself, like, well, how the fuck did we get these? And when you really think into it, the only logical thing, in my head at least, that makes sense, they left them here. And we're a programmed society. So if you look at how we have developed over a very, very, very short amount of time, like going from fucking monkeys to fucking what we see today, human beings, like, it's a very, very small amount of time. And it's almost like we were planted here as a fucking research study to see how we would advance in what amount of time.
Like we're literally an ant farm.
They're leaving like little fucking crumbles of information for us. So like we're going to leave you 12 alien spaceships and we're going to see how long it takes you to fucking figure it out and make one yourself.
Or even like the stone monuments and the geoglyphs that you find all over the earth that are like, how the fuck are these 50-ton rocks sitting vertically,
fucking pyramids.
perfectly? Not even that. Not even
all
that.
Face due
I'm
north.
talking
but
Stonehenge.
still,
I'm
basic,
talking like all kinds of shit where it's like none of this makes sense that it's here.
Yeah.
Like, how did it get here? If it's been here for 1,000 years, what fucking technology was used
exactly.
to
We
get
did not
them
have
here?
the technology.
And not to mention,
build
like,
that shit.
when it comes to the pyramids, like, there's no way that was slave labor. There's absolutely no way. Because if you look at it, how perfect all the corners are, how perfect everything is, and it's within a 0.01 degree of the North Star.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's not slave labor. There's way too much pride in that work
And do
for
you
it to
know
be slave labor.
how much you really need to know to make a perfect pyramid?
Oh my
to
god.
that size,
Dude.
Like
There's three of them.
You're talking about a bottom level.
There's three.
You're talking about a bottom level of like 25,000 rocks, and the top level is one.
Yeah, I mean,
and you have a perfect pyramid going all the way up there.
Have
if
you
mess
seen
up
the
just
people
a little
standing?
bit, dude, it'll throw it off.
Have you seen the people standing next to it, like on one fucking block? It's
They're
like
huge.
I mean,
They're like
the
20-ton rocks.
The one block is like fucking way bigger than a normal human.
Yeah, they're huge.
Like, I mean, think about it. You try to carry fucking 100 pounds, and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm tired."
But there's also giants. They also say there's giants in there.
If we're talking about
that's
evidence,
proven too.
if we're talking about evidence of like alien civilizations and stuff that have visited, I really do not think that the fucking pyramids and stuff like that are something that points to that. I can see why people would see that, especially because when you go into the hieroglyphs that are in there, like they depict some strange things,
helicopters,
like airplanes,
helicopters
and stuff like that.
before helicopters
but
were even a fucking thing.
At the same time,
There's pictures of helicopters
in the hieroglyphs.
Oh yeah.
Like
airplanes
no,
and
like
shit.
like
I'm just
full,
learning
like
crazy.
no, like full blown helicopters
we were
depicted in hieroglyphs, bro.
fucking
When
great.
we were
Google it,
talking
it's
in the
insane.
chat about like Ancient Aliens, the show that's on History Channel,
so
and
funny.
he was talking about watching it or whatever. When you watch the early episodes of Ancient Aliens, they talk about shit like that, and it's like, okay, this is like, I don't want to call it legitimate because there's really no evidence or whatever, and
But
it's mostly speculation.
There's substance
but
to it.
there's like substance to it. It's like, okay, I can get behind that, and then fucking you start getting into like season 12 where they're talking about an episode entitled "The Reptilian Agenda," and they're
That's when you go Alex
we've
Jones.
all
That's
evolved
full
from
Alex
reptiles
Jones.
from other fucking states. So, dude, I went to Breakaway Music Festival. I think it was 2 years ago.
Speaking
we
of
went
aliens.
to see. No, it relates to Ancient Aliens. We went to Breakaway Festival, and like we had a good time. We had an Airbnb there, and when we got back, they had a TV there, and the TV had like a Bluetooth player or whatever that could connect to whatever it was that you had. But the only thing that we could get there was like Time Warner on demand. We couldn't get like Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. And like the Time Warner on demand had like 4 episodes of Ancient Aliens. And like I was so fucked up that like I couldn't sleep and shit like that, so I ended up rewatching the Reptilian Agenda episode 5 fucking times that night, dude.
Oh my god!
Yeah, dude.
You just put it on repeat.
It's fucking crazy, dude. They start really reaching in the later.
I can tell you, they started reaching when they fucking made the title of the show.
Well, the whole title of the show
That
was
seems like a reach.
They were talking about.
They're trying to prove like
They're
alien
trying to
intervention.
prove that like alien intervention is what happened.
Because like when you look
that
at
human culture advances.
yeah, because like when you look at it, they're like, okay, so humans evolved from, whether you want to say they evolved from apes or if you want to say they evolved from a shrew, because there's a lot of people that say we came from shrews.
Well,
but like
that's more scientific,
right?
Because when the asteroid that hit the dinosaurs, I don't want to say that that's how it happened, but when that happened and like we were covered in ash or whatever, the smaller mammals were the ones that survived because they weren't inhaling on ash.
But when you look at it, I think there was a certain point in the human history, like when we were evolving, that our brain just like quadrupled in size.
Yeah.
But
legitimately, there is a point in fucking human history where, like, the fucking, from monkey to Homo sapien to fucking Cro-Magnon or whatever, at some point, our brain quadrupled in size.
No, out of nowhere. And, like, a lot of people, like, I think a lot of scientists, like, they base it towards, like, we figured out how to cook our meat. So, like, we were getting more of substance out of our meat and everything. But the one thing that's always been weird to me is, like, so we evolved. How did nothing from the middle ground become its own species and stick around? Like, if we evolved over thousands and thousands of years, how is there not, like, okay, this is definitely where we came from?
And the beginning.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that theory that fucking if octopuses, octopi or octopuses, whatever.
Octopi.
It's actually both. No, it's actually both. Octopuses is actually the more technical term for it.
Yeah, but pussies
Look it up.
Is octopuses is the more technical term?
Pussies?
Anyway,
In today's world.
have you know that they only have like
That just sounds like a.
You know that they only have a lifespan of like 2 years or something like that.
3 to 5 or something.
And they're highly intelligent creatures. There's actually theories out there that say that if like octopuses or octopi, whatever you want to call it, if they were...
I hope you say that like 3 more times.
I'm going to. If they actually had the time to fucking age like humans did, they'd be the most dominant culture.
Oh,
on this
easily.
It's the same,
Easily.
like, dude, if
Easily.
dolphins ever figured out how to get the fuck out of the ocean, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Like, dolphins, like, they literally have their own language. They can understand us, we can't understand them.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I mean, all animals have that, but, like, the brainwave studies that they've done on dolphins and stuff, and whales, and, like,
I mean, if you look at just the evolution...
The aquatic mammals.
If you look at, like, the evolution of life on this planet, we evolved from water.
Right.
All life that happened on this planet was
water.
We're 75%
100%.
water.
You cannot convince me otherwise that we didn't evolve from somewhere.
No, we did.
This
is like taught in schools and stuff.
Right.
We evolved from water, so everything that happened, life was in
now it's
nothing but fucking marine fucking life forms, multicellular life forms. In at one point, we started venturing out into terrestrial life.
That's why I believe in that mermaid shit. I mean,
okay, I know what you're talking about, the mermaid thing from fucking Animal Planet, that's fake.
No. I'm not, like, saying, like, dead-ass serious, but, like, that's why I believe in the possibility of the existence of mermaids, because you think about, like, a frog. A frog is born, it's a tadpole, it swims, and then it grows legs. You know what I mean? So, like, that's basically the way that I look at human evolution. Like, we were some, just organism in the ocean.
Well,
we evolved, got legs, came out. Like, the monkey theory to me, I don't believe in that one.
That's the closest.
You don't believe that we have...
They literally sent a guy to prison in the 60s for teaching it.
No, I'm saying, like,
Wild.
I believe that we have become that, but I'm saying we started there, and we grew legs and all that. Like, I don't think...
You guys continue.
I think it's...
You look like you can't even make it out of here.
What a clown show this guy is putting on here.
It's my podcast.
I just think it's weird that, like I said, there's no middle ground, because how was there no, like, breakaway species that just kind of was able to hang around?
We went on this full-blown evolution, but there's nothing in between.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, because when you think about it, like, why can an ape can keep itself alive on leaves, whatever the fuck they eat, oranges, whatever, and then humans can make themselves stay alive and build extravagant cities, giant buildings. Like, do you ever drive past like downtown and you're like, holy fuck, dude?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, when
We
you really
made
think
this.
about
Dude,
it,
when they put up a gas station in a month,
It's not even that, dude.
Like,
they
what?
built the Karoo Tower back in like 1900.
Yeah.
Like
how?
that's ridiculous.
How? We didn't even have the technology realistically to do it like in a legitimate manner.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
Like,
then
how is
Grandpa
there
Stolze
no?
had pictures of them constructing the fucking Karoo Tower.
But like, how is there no middle ground species whatsoever?
Right.
Yeah, you would think that, I mean, over hundreds, thousands, whatever amount of years, that, you would have to have some sort of species in between us and whatever we can.
And there's no
from.
crossover.
Yeah, if-
like, there's
yeah,
not.
if
it's
we
not
went
like
through
a-
this-
And it wouldn't even
yeah.
have to be a large portion of population, but it would have. We'd have to have
No,
something.
but if
in the middle.
something.
if we went through this insane evolution to where we went from literally fucking primates to like the dominance of the fucking animal kingdom,
and we left nothing behind.
and there's nothing in between, like that's very sketchy to me. Like, that's
It is.
very
It
weird,
makes. It doesn't really make a ton of sense, and I don't spend a
Like
ton
how
of
did
time
how
thinking
did
about
all
it,
of
but-
us how did all of us become the fully evolved form of a human?
Right.
How is there not anybody in between that's something else? You know?
Right. Right.
That's a little trippy.
And the only
thought
way
right
that
there.
we're still evolving is technology.
Yep.
Like, cause
Yeah, mentally, we
the
do
most-
not evolve
I think it was
without technology anymore.
It wasn't Elon on Rogan. It was somebody else on Rogan that was talking about how our eras are actually different dimensions. Like when you look back, you're like, you can look at a video and be like, I know exactly what year that is for the most part. You can be like,
Right.
that's 40s,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
50s,
You can
that's
give,
60s.
like,
Yeah,
a-
yeah.
you
You
They're
can tell,
saying
you
that,
can
like-
tell by the
Yeah, he's like, I
by
forget.
the
God,
way
I
the
cannot
camera
remember who it
is
was.
taken.
Yeah,
like just like when you can see like if you go back and you watch Tiger Woods highlights.
Yeah, you're like,
and
you know that's the early 2000s.
And you can see people that are sitting there watching, and the way that they're dressed, you're like, oh yeah, that's early 2000s.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
right.
But they were
before
saying, like,
2010, 100%.
They were saying that, like, when you do that, is like, you're kind of creating your own dimension because you're like, okay, that's the 50s. That's the 50s. Like, that's the dimension. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you know who
Breaking
I'm-
the seal too?
do you know who that was?
Oh, yeah.
That was on Rogan that was talking about how
This is like
all
beer number
the
5 since I've
decades
been-
and everything, over time, it actually
There's a
becomes
lock
into,
on it.
like, its own dimension.
What you lock it for? There's nobody here that's gonna come in.
It's
The door
swings
doesn't.
open,
The door
yeah.
doesn't fucking stay shut.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Repeat that, please.
So, like, this dude on Rogan was saying that the way that we capture things, like cameras, etc., is that over time it's almost making that a dimension in and of itself. Because you can go back and look at a video or a picture or something and be like, that's 40s, that's 50s,
Okay.
that's 60s. So what he was saying is like, you go back and you watch some of these videos, it's a different world. Like,
Yeah.
that's almost, it's like he's comparing it to being
Yeah.
like a completely
And
different dimension.
If we're talking about like the whole theory of like simulations and stuff like that, then that would make sense.
Right.
Like, who's to
Exactly.
say that the video games that we're creating couldn't one day
Well,
become
and-
like a whole nother civilization?
And that's where Elon always goes with the simulation theory, is that like the only thing that's actually happening is what is right in front of you, which is the exact same thing as a video game where like what's going on behind me isn't happening until I turn around and like
Right.
observe it. So like basically you have like a triangle, like a cone coming out of your head, and every time you turn, then everything in real time generates.
Right,
just
right,
like
right.
a video
Like you
game.
only have vision of what's actually
Yeah.
in front of your
Yeah.
vision, kind of thing.
And that's what Elon bases his theory off of, is the fact, like, I don't know exactly how he broke it down. Obviously, he broke it down way better than I ever
way
could.
better
But-
than you could. Yeah.
But in the the gist of it is that nothing is actually happening until you actually observe it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know when it comes to like observations and dimensions and stuff like that. If you think about it, and we're talking about like alien civilizations that we might not even be able to like necessarily perceive.
Right.
Alien.
it's like one of
cultures
those.
and
It's
stuff
like one of
that.
those high pitched.
It's like when you look under a microscope, and I don't know. This is based in theory, but like single cellular organisms and stuff like that, they're based in a 2-dimensional realm, whereas we're based in a 3-dimensional realm. So when we look down into a microscope at a 2-dimensional object, like one of those single cellular organisms, we can look right through them.
Right.
But they are not aware of us whatsoever.
Right.
So,
So you're thinking maybe that we are like that with aliens, kind of.
I think we're an
Something
ant-
alien is
I
the
think we're
us
like
in that
a-
situation.
something
I think we're like an ant
Okay,
farm
okay.
on some alien's fucking nightstand, and 330 million people inside of an ant farm, and he's just looking at us like every time one of the ants is about to blow the fuck up out of somebody, he's like, all right, shake the fucking ant farm, move them around.
This is starting to get into like the Fermi paradox. I think that's how it's pronounced, the Fermi paradox. And I told you guys to look. Excuse me. I told you guys to look that up a little bit, but basically the Fermi paradox is it's based off the Drake equation. Which, if you don't know what the Drake equation is, it's this equation that they did to see, like, we have this many stars that are in our, what is going on here? Oh, we're still running. But the Drake equation basically takes a look at the amount of stars that are just in our galaxy alone. There's billions of stars in this fucking galaxy. And it's like, well, now that we know that there's this many stars in the galaxies and that fucking exoplanets around the stars are a very common thing, there's an exponential amount more of planets out there. So if we really look at it and do the equation, now I don't know how all these numbers work, but they say that there is like 100,000 planets out there in our galaxy alone that don't just sustain life, but sustain intelligent life.
Yeah. Then there's also mirror universes too.
And the whole thing about the Fermi paradox is that once we do that equation and we come to that conclusion, why is there no fucking evidence that there's another culture out there? Like, because you can look around us in the vastness of space, there's nothing that says, there's no like Dyson sphere that is like harvesting the power of a star or something out there. There's some people who have looked into a telescope and fucking seen some shit like that, but like, why is it that we haven't seen any evidence at all if there really are? And like some of the theories are like, well, maybe it's just so hard to go from a eukaryotic stage or to form a eukaryotic stage where like multicellular organisms come and stuff like that. There's stuff that says like maybe the universe is just so young, even though we're 14 billion years old, that like in the grand scheme of things, the universe is going to last trillions upon trillions on trillions and trillions and trillions of years. Like, maybe we just haven't fucking evolved enough as a universe for there actually to be
or as
advanced civilizations.
As simple organisms.
Well, yeah, because we hold ourselves back with arguing about stupid shit. Like, the amount of things that if humans just fucking work together on stuff, dude, instead of like, well, I think you should do it this way because I was taught this, as opposed to just like everybody be open-minded, work together on a common goal, and just get the shit done. Which is literally what the 20s was in America, was everybody working together, getting shit done, and look at what the fuck happened. Yeah. Everybody was rich. And then, obviously, the stock market, whatever, but, we're not going to talk about that.
Well,
but when we're working together, America is a fucking well-oiled machine.
The entire...
And it runs the world.
Think about if we put it on a world scale,
how
much we could get done. If we just, like stopped fucking talking about these imaginary fucking lines. Like, when people get into the whole, like, fucking, I'm a fucking patriot and shit like that, I look at them, I'm like, that's fucking stupid to me.
It's no different than being...
There's 7 billion people on this fucking planet, and all of them have just as much of a fucking reason to be speaking as fucking you. There's no fucking reason in this entire world that we should feel we are more inclined to agree or fucking fall in line with someone because of where we were born. Like, the United States, someone who lives in the Middle East in Israel is just as foreign to me as someone who lives in fucking Illinois.
Facts.
Which is 2 states
Somebody
over.
You don't fucking know. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, like there's no reason to think like that. That's why I think nationalism is one of the fucking biggest things that keeps us from fucking evolving as an entire fucking planet and culture.
It's nationalism and religion.
Yeah.
Those are the two things. Religion will forever, for the eternity of time, will cause more death than it will save. And, I mean, just based off of how many people died back in, like, the Crusades in the medieval times over Catholicism, you're never going to get that number.
Still.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, just over in the Middle East where people are still getting killed for, I mean, just being Catholic. Well, in the Middle East, it's Muslim and Jewish, but yeah. But like,
and you start to see some of the religions that have. We were talking about this last week. Some of the religions have fucking like advanced. Oh, not necessarily advanced away from it, but like certain countries that are predominantly like Catholic, like the United States is a predominantly Christian fucking community or whatever. But we've advanced to a point where like religion is not fucking part of our legislation that we are doing in our government.
Yeah,
like
anymore,
it's
yeah.
completely separate
Not
fucking
anymore,
religion
yeah.
and
It
state.
used to be all based off of that.
Used to be
It's not
church and
like
state.
that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of real things, but I want to get into the fucking question at hand. Do you guys believe that we have actually been visited by an intelligent alien civilization? And if you're looking at like the Bob Lazar and the Commander Fravor podcast and all the shit that happens with them, like I've never in my life really, because I've always speculated and I've always known that there could be an advanced civilization out there, but it wasn't until I see the shit that these guys are putting out that I actually believe it.
And the Fravor
and
thing
I'll say
happened
right
like,
here, I'll say right here and now, it wasn't until these last couple weeks that I really looked at fucking the world that we live in and been like, damn,
they're here.
They're here.
There's just
Because we're gonna kill ourselves if they don't.
There's a lot of
Like,
evidence in the last like couple
up.
of weeks that people are just starting to be like, oh yeah, that happened. Like Obama came out and said something
Well,
about it. In the
they
last couple
they
of
literally
weeks. Like,
part of the stimulus package was that they had to release all
Right.
UFO information by
Yeah.
like
So in
the end of
in
this month or something
in
like
2017, the CIA, like the government officials and shit in the CIA, was when they started like releasing it to them that like, yo,
We don't know what
these
this is.
videos have come out, legitimate army radar footage of these fucking these like ships. I
Tic
should
Tacs.
say. The Tic Tac thing, like we can see them. They appear on radar, but they have stealth systems that we can't tell how far away
they
they
can also
are.
block the radar.
But we see them, and they move in a different way than any type of propulsion that we've ever come up with is. And like the United States government has now openly said this in like the last year or so that these are real videos, and we have no idea what
that's
the
when you
fuck
know
they
it's,
are.
that's when you know it's bad, is when the lying ass government is literally presenting you with shit that say we don't know what the fuck this is.
And
They're not even trying to say like, oh yeah, this just happened to be some object we've never seen. They're literally saying like, yeah, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Think about this. If alien civilizations, we started getting on the radar of alien civilizations back in the 40s when we invented the atom bomb and started fucking testing nuclear weapons and stuff like that. If we look at that and they started fucking actually like coming and visiting us, now if you think about the time that happened, or the span of time that happened from like the 40s until where we are now, like there was a lot of fucking world drama that was going on where like we were competing with Russia for every fucking thing, and like we didn't want to release the information that these might be alien fucking pods
Anything
and shit
that
like
could
that
give Russia
because it might
It would give them an edge.
might
Like,
give them an upper hand.
oh, well, the U.S. is dealing with foreign entities or whatever. Yeah, they immediately have a world power
and
pinned in the corner.
We're living in a time where like these governments are starting to say like, yeah, these things have happened and we don't know what the fuck is going
Exactly.
on.
And
And we're
that's
going to
the
advance
scary
from
part.
here. Imagine if over the past like fucking 80 years we didn't have Project Blue Book,
didn't even know that this shit was going on.
which has been proven and stated by the United States government that
completely
Project Blue
declassified.
Book was a system that was installed to fucking make people believe that these were not actual UFOs and that they were something that was fucking installed by Russia or something like that. They were trying to cover everything else.
Yes.
This is proven fucking facts.
Yep.
These are proven facts that like we have covered up the evidence of alien civilizations up until now. 2020.
Well, and what's crazy too,
and
like,
that's what makes you wonder is why are they just now letting people know about this?
It's because we're not in as much.
We're not in a
we're not
place
as
where-
much
right,
world turmoil.
but is it also because it may be a legitimate threat at this point?
I don't think they're a threat.
I don't think it's a threat at all.
I don't
Because
either.
if it was
It
a
would have
threat,
happened by now.
if it was a threat, it would have happened by now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like,
But-
what's weird though is that like when
They're watching us.
Dude, they're jamming our
if you watch-
radars.
if you guys watched the George Knapp podcast that I fucking sent you, that one was a little bit more speculation than like real evidence. But he said a lot of shit about like one of the big things that alien civilizations would target would be our nuclear facilities and stuff. And there's stories of like these ships that came in like a mothership and released all these things, and they did like a 12-hour dance in the sky, shut down our fucking our ability to actually launch the nuclear missiles, or fucking made them all fucking ramp up to the point where they were going to launch and then they stopped at the last second and just disappeared. Like, it's fucking crazy to think that, like, these motherfuckers are, like, targeting us. They're like, hey, we're here. We see what you guys are capable.
Fucking
and
stop.
we're not fucking impressed by you at all.
Yeah. Right.
So watch your shit.
Yeah. Well, what's weird, though, like, with the Tic Tac, like, that Fravor came in contact with is not only was it going from 6,000 feet in the air down to a foot below or a foot above the water in a matter of, like, a second flat, and then, like, to the point where the radar didn't even capture it, go from point A to point B, and it's fucking jamming our radars, which under the UN protocols is an act of war, which proves that it's not human.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily prove that it's not human. It proves that it's something that we have no fucking.
Well, I mean, based on the U.S. technology,
you're allowed to shoot it down at that point.
Based on your radars. Based on U.S. technology, we're not going to get jammed by most people besides either China or other worldly.
Well, that technology exists, but if you watch the Commander Fravor podcast, the Joe Rogan,
I was listening to it when I left golf until I came here.
This man is a legitimate army.
He's an army commander.
He's an Air Force admiral.
Well, like, first of all, let's just talk about how insane the fact that he was able to get as close to it as he was in a fucking jet. That is, first of all, impressive.
It's not even that. It's
I'm just talking about his actual aviation skills are absurd that he was able to get that close.
It's the fact that this legitimate army commander or whatever who was running a fucking a USS whatever, an aircraft carrier. He's on this podcast. Joe Rogan, one of the biggest media moguls in the entire fucking world, if not the biggest. He's on there and he's legitimately saying he takes a look at the video that we have and they have this little Tic Tac that's flying in the air and fucking it just zooms off. There's no propulsion at all, no acceleration. It just zips off.
The New York Times article.
He legitimately says, they're like, "What do you think of this?" He's like, "This is something that we don't know of this world." And he's like,
well, it's got technology that we haven't even.
Great. I mean, but I'm sitting there listening to him talking about how he changed his elevations and the way that he was flying, and I'm sitting there just impressed at the fact that he was able to adjust his his footage like that quick. And then he talks about I was like almost nose to nose with it, and then it just disappeared.
Well,
and then he was like, I called out to the other guys that were out in the air that were 2,000 feet above, and they're like, "Sir, it's gone."
Yeah,
sir, it's gone. So the fact that he was even able to get his aircraft close enough to be even able to watch that happen, he's a hell of a fucking pilot to begin with, and then. After all the things that he's done and the way that he's flown, he sees that and he's like, "Yeah, something's fucked up."
If you watch
that's when you know.
If you watch the podcast and you actually listen to it, a lot of people speculate that he was flying alongside of the alien UFO, but he says in the podcast actually that he didn't. He said that this thing was so fucking more capable than we are that
right. But he said
we picked it up on our radar, and it was like a minute and a half video where you see this Tic Tac in the sky on thermal vision or whatever.
Yeah, he said he almost came nose to nose with it, and then it was gone. He said. He got right there and it just disappeared.
Well, that's when it stopped.
He said it was gone, and then he said that's when they started seeing that the radar was getting fucking corrupted and fucked with. So I mean, that's insane. I mean, a guy that can fly a fucking plane like that is that good at flying a fucking jet way,
and they have absolutely no way of getting anywhere close to it.
And he still has no clue what the fuck happened to it. Like that's insane.
Well, there was
insanity.
Fravor went on to Lex Friedman's podcast, and
I haven't seen that.
I mean, honestly, you probably won't understand a fucking thing they talk about because they go into the physics and the propulsion and everything of this Tic Tac, and they're like, dude, it doesn't make sense. Like Lex Friedman is like one of the top dogs, and he's sitting there just like not like what you're explaining to me, the speeds that you're explaining to me, the elevations and everything like that. He's like, it's not man-made. There's just absolutely no
The
way
one
it's
dude
man-made.
said he was like, it was still moving east to west, but it was going north and south the whole time.
Well,
he said it would control itself east to west with no problem at all, but it was still traveling.
The one thing that was
straight.
so mind baffling about the footage that they had released or whatever is you see this thermal camera that they have, and they have the numbers at the bottom and on the sides and shit that are explaining certain things, and there's one that says like depth of field or whatever, and it's 99.99999 or whatever, and he's like, this is the one that is important in this one. He's like, we are visually seeing this target. We don't know how far away it is because the fact that it says 9.99999 or whatever, it means that it is not able to fucking read it. This thing has fucking stealth capabilities so we cannot physically pick it up.
And we think we're slick with a stealth bomber.
Right.
Because it looks like a fucking bird on radar.
Well, and then like if you watch the video that the Pentagon released, the pilot's literally like, I don't know.
I'll have to tell you about
he's
this
legit
shit.
like, I don't know what I just saw. I'm paraphrasing, but he literally says like, I don't know what this is. He's like, there is a object flying in the sky right now.
I'll have to tell you guys about this off camera, but I have someone that I know that is in the military that is talking about this shit that is like our actual like stealth capabilities that we can use now on airship carriers and stuff like that, and it's like, when I tell you, it's gonna fucking baffle you guys.
Well, they say that the military's 40 to 50 years ahead of where the public is. Like they had the military
that's
had virtual
sense.
reality.
Yeah, that's common sense.
Virtual reality helmets and virtual reality in and of itself was patented in like 1957.
Yep. Oh,
like
dude.
it had
the amount of
shit,
shit,
all the
amount of
senses, smell and
technology
everything.
that's out there that we don't even.
Oh yeah.
And they do it because we
Sharks with freaking laser
and
beams
how
on
They,
their
they,
heads.
they
How much
do
of
it
this
because
guy-
we wouldn't be able to fathom it. It's the same reason that they've hid the.
Fucking blow our minds.
It's the same way that I mean, think about it, dude. We freak out over COVID. Imagine if the fucking president of the United States comes out and says, "Oh yeah,
There's aliens.
There's aliens literally on the earth right now." Can you imagine?
I'd be like, I knew it.
But could you imagine the general population?
So
They would freak the fuck out.
So Simon, whatever his name is, it's the director that did the Bob Lazar documentary on Netflix or whatever. He's the guy that was on the Fravor podcast, the Bob Lazar and the George Knapp one. He's the guy that like
Jeremy
he's
Corbell. Is that what you're
Jeremy
talking about?
Corbell. Yeah. He talks about it, and he's like, well, there's all these fucking stories of the United States presidents that are like, when I get into office, I'm going to fucking release all the shit on aliens. And then they get into office and never speak about it ever again.
That's what Trump said before he even got fucking elected.
Yeah.
He literally said, if I'm in there for a full 8 years, I release everything that we know about aliens. Dude, he was there for 4 years. He didn't release shit.
I think it's
because
well, actually,
it's a judgment.
actually,
Well,
that's
I
not
think
true
it's-
because what we were talking about before, that they've released these videos.
Well, yeah. But
these videos are
but what
something
I'm
that we
saying
don't know about.
is he said, like, if I get the full 8 years, I will release everything because I want everybody to know about it. Well, he's also quoted during COVID to say, I didn't want to tell people how bad it was because I didn't want the general population to freak out.
That's what, it's
It's
always
crazy.
a judgment
And
call.
it's
probably.
crazy.
And it's
think
not,
what-
and like I said, no politics bullshit involved. Like, it was a simple fact that, like, going back to, like, it's saving the mental health of the general population.
Yeah.
So, like, he decided, okay, if we told him that it was this bad, everybody's going to freak out. You know? So, like, same way with aliens. Like, if the Joe Biden came out tomorrow and was like, oh yeah, there's literally aliens living amongst you, like they're
Everyone they would just write that off.
like one of us,
okay.
one of us. Well,
Sleepy
yeah,
Joe's
well,
talking
yeah.
again.
But I'm just saying, president in general. You know, a high-ranking person says, "Oh yeah, there's like in this room right now, one of us might be an alien type shit." Like, think about how bad you would freak out. You'd be like, "What? Like, you're from another fucking."
You just look at the rest of next to you.
Like, exactly. You're like, what the
create-
fuck? He's like, if he said 1 out of every 4 people on this planet are aliens, we would all be looking at each other like,
who's the fucking alien?
freaking. You know what I mean? Like,
You're my brother, and I don't even know.
Exactly. It's a general panic, dude, and that's why they keep shit from
There's
us.
a lot
because
of stuff
There's
like
not a lot. There's not people out there like the four of us sitting in this room that are willing to, you know, open our minds to other concepts of reality that may not even be realistic.
If you take a look at the whole Bob Lazar fucking scenario, and he's the top dog when it comes to like existence of alien cultures that have visited us, and he's apparently worked with fucking these ships and stuff like that. But when you listen to his story, and if he is making it all up, this is a very smart guy. Because
sealed, bro.
He's talking about how compartmentalized fucking everything is when you're working on these. He's like, we're working on one thing that has to do with the gravitational propulsion, and then another people are looking at just the fucking layering of the atomic fucking structure of the space. They're not allowed to communicate with each other whatsoever. And that all has to do with, we don't want fucking everyone to communicate about this, because if it gets out to fucking Russia or China or something like that, then they have an upper hand on us.
And then even if you just completely dissect away from that, it's simple, just world control. Like, you're able to control people if you don't let them know about what we're capable of.
Well, that's
plain and simple.
Bob
like,
Lazar,
if you just literally just dial it down into a microscope, like, let's say, even if we have this technology and we're like, oh, we're worried about these other people, even if it's not the case, like, if the government has this type of technology and they know that, okay, somebody out there that's smart is going to be able to take this and turn it into something bad, they're just like, oh, we'll just hold on to it for a couple decades.
And it's a legitimate thing to fucking be worried about.
Well, that's what...
Exactly.
They talk about it in the podcast and stuff. They're like that. They're like, if we could figure out how to actually use this technology, it's a game changer.
That's what I was about to say.
At that
and
point,
people are breaking everything.
If America could figure out how the technology that allegedly exists in fucking Area 51, if we could actually figure that out, we own the world.
Yeah,
well, and that's what I was going to say. You said Area 51, that's why I just wanted to drop us in there, and I could be wrong, but the first documented, like truly documented alien, UFO sighting was around the Las Vegas area, where Area 51 starts. And right after that is when Area 51 was formed. And I could be wrong. This is something that we'd have to look up. But the first well-documented...
Christopher Columbus in the 1400s documented it.
Yeah. But I'm saying just like in U.S. civilization, I'm pretty sure that's...
Well, when you're talking about, like, the alien theory and stuff like that, Area 51 is, like, the hub of,
dude, you can't convince me that there's not some shit going on there. Like,
there's definitely some shit going on. I mean, it speaks volumes.
Like, I truly believe that they have UFO carriers.
We had that whole, like, raid on
there.
Area 51 that, like, everyone was going to storm Area 51, and the United States government and fucking military came out and was like, yo, if you fucking storm this shit, we will shoot you.
Yeah, because it's a matter of national security.
What a wild time!
Because
that Facebook group had like 7 million.
Because even if it's something as simple as like, oh, we might have like a couple ships in here that
if you have one alien body in there.
Exactly.
At the same time,
all it takes is one jackass to talk to another country, and next thing you know, it's over.
It doesn't necessarily mean aliens, though. It just means that there's something going on in that fucking area that they do not want
plain
us
and simple,
or the general population.
Plain and simple, it's a matter of national security, and that's why they hide it.
They do a lot of
because you cannot classify everything.
It's fucking. That's where they tested nuclear bombs.
But what you were saying.
They were talking about in the 50s and shit when we were testing nuclear bombs.
Yeah,
you could go to fucking places in Vegas and you could legitimately pay money to watch nuclear bombs go off from the distance.
So now imagine something that would change the fucking entire way the world looks at.
But like what you were talking about though, with what the technology inside of Area 51, like I'm assuming what you're talking about is that element 115, because if we can find a way to capture that element and make it possible to always be on Earth, because right now the only way it happens is in a particle collider.
Yeah, in a particle accelerator. Yeah, or whatever, so like, and it only exists for like a millisecond or whatever.
But
there
it
is
exists.
Proof that it exists.
Yeah.
And Bob Lazar was talking about this way
80s.
Before we actually fucking proved that it was the thing. And it's one of those things where, like, if the alien culture, say this element was fucking prevalent on their fucking world or whatever, they would have such an upper hand of us because this is propulsion that is powered by gravity, not by, like, an actual fucking blast of flames and explosion that is shooting out the tailpipe of a fucking...
And you said, like, the mass, or, like, the energy, like, the element 115 is what controlled the craft. So, like, He said it was like a ball, like a bowling ball, right in the middle of the craft that like you could spin, and that was how you controlled everything.
He was talking about the fucking because he in the documentary he like legitimately draws these out on a sheet of paper,
sick.
and he's talking about like the propulsion systems and like these 3 bars that exist on the saucer or whatever, and what they do is they fucking all will tilt up, and that was the thing about the Tic Tac.
Right.
It doesn't move like this; it moves like this. So the fucking 3 things on the bottom of it, they fucking center in on where they want to go, and then when they fucking have the fucking correlation, it fucking zooms off.
Yeah, and he was saying that like the element 115's got its own gravitational like field around it. So like you can't touch it. So like the whole idea of why they want us, or like why they wanted Bob Lazar to reverse engineer it, was because if we can figure out how to use element 115 and put it around our tanks, put it around our airplanes, you know, etc., we are an unstoppable force. Like nothing can get to the destruction machine that we're trying to bring them.
It's legitimate force fields.
Literally, yeah.
Because when you come into it, there's
it
fucking
think
of the gravity that pulls on us.
It's like 2 magnets.
It's constantly pulling us to the ground. Now, picture if that was something that was fucking expelled outward, and you go up to the, like say this microphone or whatever, and you try to put your hand on it. Eventually, there's just this force that fucking.
Well, it's like when you have like 2 positive poles on a battery, and you're trying to put them together, and like you just cannot put that battery together. Exactly. It's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
So like if you can find a way to harness that power, like you run the world.
Right.
Like you can go full Napoleon if you want and just start taking shit over.
Right.
Which
so,
is
that's short, bitch.
So fucking
short bitch.
Harmeyer's being real. Harmeyer's being real quiet over there, man.
Because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he already
Well,
is chatting.
that is fair.
Also, I don't know anything about this stuff, so I'm more learning things here.
Okay,
so
based
he's
on
had
what,
a couple truths
based on
too,
what
so.
we have said, based on what we have said, and like what you have seen elsewhere, because you said that
Probably a
you've
little
seen the
mind
documentary, the
expansion
Bob
going
Lazar
on.
documentary.
Yeah. No, I think they're real. Like, 100%. I think they're real.
I think
If that's
we're
what you were gonna
ignorant.
ask,
I think we're ignorant to
I
say
think
we're
they're
alone.
real. Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah,
It's
being that
like,
we're alone,
I think that it is a
thousands
very-
and thousands of
I think
galaxies,
it-
planets, whatever.
I think that it is a very ignorant fucking
Statement or belief.
It's a very ignorant statement to look at what fucking actually exists and that has been proven in this universe and think that we are the only ones out
Well,
here.
just a simple thought of what's in the
whether or
ocean.
not we have been visited by an actual intelligent life or whatever is a completely different thing. Like, on some scale, there has to be fucking single cellular organisms somewhere out there in the fucking universe. Maybe it is a thing that, like, in order to fucking morph into a eukaryotic stage or whatever, maybe that is a very, very rare thing. This goes back into the Fermi paradox, and that's something that I kind of, when I'm talking about the existence of life before seeing fucking Bob Lazar, I think that life does exist out there, and it is prevalent, but it is very, very hard, and we are such a young in our fucking evolution of a universe that, like, they might not exist. But after watching the shit that was fucking laid out with the Bob Lazar and fucking Commander Fravor, the Commander Fravor one is the one that, like, really put me over. I looked at that fucking footage and they're like, yeah, the government says that we don't know what the fuck happened here. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, that's scary. That's
If the
scary
government
to
doesn't
think
have anything to say.
the people that lie to us more than anybody don't know what's going on. That's a scary thought. For sure.
And they're finally being transparent about something.
Yeah, because they're that. Well, it's because they're that worried about it.
Yeah.
Like they're that confused about it.
I don't know that, and that's what I think it is.
I don't think it's a worry.
Not worried, confused.
I really don't think that
so
we're in danger.
yeah.
We're
one
so
day.
confused to a point where
confused is what I
we're
mean.
not compartmentalizing.
Right,
it anymore.
exactly.
It's,
It's just
hey,
like-
if you have some fucking
exactly. We're
theory
gonna
that
show
might
you.
explain this.
We're gonna show you what's out here. Somebody, please come forward and try to explain this because we are open to suggestions.
Right.
But yeah, if they haven't came yet, I don't think we're in trouble when they do. I think they're more Big Brother.
You mean if
or
they have,
watching
if
came?
if
Just
they have
watching us,
came,
watching us, yeah.
If they have came, I mean,
Have come.
Yeah, they're obviously not. They're obviously not malicious.
I hope they've
They're-
come.
yeah, I don't think they're malicious.
I hope
think
they've come too.
I think it's. I think
By the
it's,
way, what's
poor
this
guys.
fucking, this NASA fucking statement that alien fucking civilizations might not be able to reproduce with us is
What's
bullshit.
the point?
I don't want to believe that. I want to have alien babies. God damn it.
But yeah, we just gotta get
What's the
Spillz,
fucking
alien
point?
lady.
If we can't fuck the aliens, what's the point?
What is the fucking point? I don't know the fucking point.
Yeah. Yeah, reproductive system.
NASA ruined a lot of
reproductive
things.
system should be universal.
I think that was completely fake. I don't think NASA.
No, yeah, oh
actually
yeah, no, that was for sure
Hey,
fake.
reproductive system should be universal.
It just couldn't have been-
100%.
Deal.
Well, that's
100%. Like on some Guardians of the Galaxy
if you-
shit.
if you're
trying to
thinking
have
about-
I'm in
trying to
for
have a
that.
half
Thinking
alien,
about-
half fucking.
If you're thinking about life in general that might be out there, we're so localized to what exists on this planet that like we really have no idea
not
what
a
a fucking
fucking
intelligent
clue.
life
Bro,
form could look
the
like.
still finding
craziest, the
shit out.
craziest thought that you
Who's to
have
say?
could sound like ignorance
Who's
2
to
years
say-
from now.
Who's to say that like fucking a dog that we have at home, fucking Griffey at your house, doesn't have fucking like
Griffey's an alien.
existential
Shout out,
crises and shit like that? Like it has fucking deep inner.
Well,
fucking,
dogs. They say dogs, like with paranormal, like they sense paranormal stuff, just
Yeah.
like little kids
Dude,
and
Do
everything.
dogs have
Because they have less
hurricanes
going on.
and
Katie-
fucking
Katie did.
earthquakes.
Well,
and
it's
shit like
because it's because they have less going on. Like the same thing with like little kids, like why they're able, like why they can interface with some of these things, is because like their brains are not.
Fully developed.
They're not- it's not even
worried-
that.
They're
It's
not,
not
They're
even
thinking
not
about-
fully developed.
They're
but
They're not-
they're not
the-
thinking
the-
about
no,
everything.
the-
Thinking
the
about
thing
everything
is-
else.
The thing is that their brains are developing in the fucking current fucking
Yeah.
technological advancements that we've had.
But it's
and that's
also-
why we have such like an upper hand on shit when we're growing up, because we grew up in a time where like. I was born in
Little
'93.
bit of both.
Everything was analog back
Yeah,
then,
little bit
and
of
now
both.
everything is digital. So
Yeah.
we have a little bit of all those things.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, have you heard the thing that like kids on cell phones now, like when we think about holding a cell phone to our ear and talking on it, we have
Yeah,
like
they
the
do
pinky
this.
underneath
They
it,
do
and we're like
this.
gripping
Yeah,
around
we-
it. They just
Yeah.
palm it like this and put it up. To
Yeah, like when they're
really-
talking
palm
about
it-
like,
yeah,
hey, call me
apparently-
real quick.
Apparently, like young kids or whatever, they don't
Yeah,
they
they
don't
just go
have
like this.
the hand structure
Yeah.
that we do. They like legitimately palm it in their hand and hold it up to their face just with a flat palm.
Yeah. They even say like you know how we like this is the universal like hey call me
Yeah. They
like
call me,
they don't do
yeah.
that
They do
they
this.
do the yeah
Yeah.
it's
Whoa.
super
They
weird
flat palm it instead
because
of
they've
having,
never
like,
had a
standard
phone they never had a phone that had a speaker here and a
Right.
microphone here, so it's like when you think about it that's really not that
That's so wild.
that's what a fucking iPhone
That's
is
so
like
stupid to think
it's-
about. That's hilarious.
but it's crazy like when you think about it you're like holy shit we really grew up in a fucking different dimension being like we're in a different world
Right.
than we were 20 years ago.
Dude, it gets into. You can get so deep into
Oh bro, we
this
could be
shit,
here for
dude.
3-4 hours.
Dude, it's like when you think about it and you start thinking about theories of the multiverse or whatever, that there is an infinite amount of universes out there that have their own laws of physics, and
Right.
it just continues on forever and ever and ever.
And even mirror
and
universes.
those could be all simulations that were created by another fucking civilization, and at that point it becomes even more fucking infinite that like. At some point, fucking the simulation that was developed becomes fucking so evolved that it creates its own fucking infinite amount of simulations and stuff like that. It's crazy, dude. Crazy
What a
shit.
time.
Dude.
Oh, what a time.
What a time.
That's what Harmeyer
To be alive.
Oh, what a time, guys.
You and your aliens versus me and mine.
But shit. Anyway, I think that we have probably delved fucking into alien cultures as much as we needed to on this
I was
episode.
gonna say, I mean, we could definitely sit here for another hour and a half if we really
I
want
could
to.
sit here for
Oh,
days.
dude, I
But-
can talk about this shit forever.
I'm getting hungry.
Nice.
Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna fucking end it here. Episode 21. Definitely comment what you think. Please comment.
And if you're an
Fucking
alien, tell us too.
What you think. If you're an alien, let us know. If you have your
You're the
thoughts
next
on
guest.
fucking aliens, let us know.
If you're an alien, you're the next guest.
Oh,
Just
and
comment,
also
yeah.
drop your comment on what you would suck a dick for. We
drop
need
a
we
comment
need
on
a
what you would
general
suck a dick for.
consensus on the dollar limit for dick sucking.
If you have lower qualifications than sucking dick than I do,
Well,
God bless you.
it also might depend on your current financial situation.
Yeah.
You might not need
God-
$10,000
Lord help
as
you.
much.
Fair.
You know, like Noah could really use $10,000.
We could all use.
I
that.
could
Right.
really use
But what I'm
that.
saying is that if
But
you're
if you
sitting on a
have
good chunk of
$10,000 in
change,
your bank account, like who's to
all of a
say-
sudden that's $100,000 to suck a dick.
Yeah, or maybe you just stop giving a fuck at that point. Like
Right.
monetary value does not fucking.
I got my money. I'm gonna start
Hold with
sucking.
me, so I'm just gonna start sucking dick.
I'm gonna get
Anyway,
mine.
we're gonna end it right there, y'all. Episode 21 of Your House, Our Rules. This is one of my favorite episodes that we have. Comment, fucking like, share, fucking do all the shit. I love you, motherfuckers. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.